as the representative of the entire India alliance. And the Congress is a linchpin, and I support the Congress ideologically, but I feel politically, organizationally, and electorally, the Congress has not been able to inspire confidence in the country as a whole that it is a party waiting to assume power. And I think it's been a failure of that positioning, whether it's the denting of the image of Rahul Gandhi over several years that continues to become some kind of I would call as a Damocles sword over the India alliance.
No, so you're not going to give Mr. Modi any credit. You're going to put the blame that the quality of the opposition is what is making Mr. Modi look stronger than before. Sanju Verma wants to counter that. Sanju Verma, here is Sanjay Jha saying that these numbers actually are more a reflection on the quality of the opposition, particularly the Congress, and less about anything spectacular that Prime Minister Modi has done, especially in the last year when the relationship with the US has gone into a tailspin, when we've had Pahalgam, we had Operation Sindoor, Donald Trump taking credit for the ceasefire, and economic uncertainty.
Radhi, the way you've summarized what the suspended Congress acolyte has said, I hope you will even summarize my arguments, because when you summarize the negativity, you are reinforcing something for your audience, and I can see through the charade. Now let me answer, rebutting every allegation very pointedly. Operation Sindoor has come up in discussion again and again. In 2016, via the surgical strike, we crossed the LOC. In 2019, via the barcode strike, we crossed the international border. But for the first time under Operation Sindoor, we not only crossed the LOC, we not only crossed the international border, we struck at the heart of Rawalpindi. So for anyone to sit here and, wax eloquent that, Operation Sindoor really quite did not give us a comparative advantage seems to be living in La La Land. The second thing, you want to talk about Donald Trump and tariffs? I want to talk about the fact that it's raining FTAs. India-Mauritius FTA, India-Oman FTA, India-New Zealand FTA, India-Australia FTA, India-UK FTA, and the mother of all deals, India-European Union FTA, creating a market of 2 billion people, accounting for 24% of global GDP, one-third of world trade.
So you're saying Prime Minister Modi has turned adversity into opportunity, am I correct? Since you asked me to summarize, you're saying Prime Minister Modi has turned adversity. Just a minute. Prime Minister Modi has turned adversity into opportunity and thereby reinforced his image as a leader you can trust. As a leader you can trust. Am I correct? No, I'm asking you.
No,
am I correct?
No, you will give me time. I heard Sanjay Jha. You did not interject even once. Please extend the courtesy to BJP. I say that very humbly. Thank you. Let me finish now, and you can summarize after I'm done. And my final point is this, that for 20 years, the Congress also tried. Who finally ensured that the India-European Union FTA came through? It was a man called Narendra Modi. You don't want to give him credit? Good luck to you. But the fact of the matter is, when somebody on your panel sits here and says, economic uncertainty is one of the reasons why the mojo of this government is done and dusted. You're talking about economic uncertainty? 9.7% growth in 2022, 7.6% in 2023, 9.2% in 2024, 6.5% in 2025, and estimated 7.4% in 2026. Show me another economy which is growing at 7.5% plus with retail inflation at less than 2%. There's only one name, that is India. And final 10 seconds, Rajdeep.
Rajdeep, a rejoinder, please.
Okay. Just 10 seconds, please.
Can I now summarize? Ma'am, can I summarize? No, ma'am, allow me now to summarize. Okay, 10 seconds.
Please.
Yes.
10 seconds. Thank you, Rajdeep.
Yes.
For smaller mercies. 12 crore Swachh Bharat toilets. 10 crore gas cylinders under Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana. More than 42 crore Ayushman cards given to the poor and the needy. More than 4 crore houses built under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. More than 43 lakh crore loans given under Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. And guess what? More than 72% beneficiaries of all these schemes are people from OBC, Dalit or tribal communities. So the Modi government has got the top.
Can I now summarize? Sanjay Jha, the fact is, what Sanju Verma is saying. The Prime Minister, as I said, has turned adversity into opportunity. For example, tariffs threats by the US, you go and strike win-win deals with other countries and other trade groupings. The fact is that the Prime Minister, as Sanju Verma says, did take the decision, or the government took the decision to strike at terrorist camps inside Pakistan. The fact is, despite the economic headwinds that are there, India is still doing better than many other large economies in terms of the headline numbers. The truth of the matter is, therefore, all of this inspires an element of trust in Prime Minister Modi. Will you not give him any credit? The same question can also be put to Mr. Kalappa. But Sanjay, very quickly, and then Mr. Kalappa.
Sure. Rajdeep, let me tell you, I am also a student of economics. I've never felt more embarrassed than when the International Monetary Fund, a respected international agency, questioned the veracity of India's GDP data, calling it C grade. We have concerns. India's data is opaque. Arvind Subramaniam, a chief economic advisor to the Modi government, is on record to say that India's GDP, and his latest book is, by the way, a brilliant book that tells you how India's problems are structural and extremely deep, and the data is flawed. Crony capitalism in this country is through the roof. We have become a plutocracy, which is why you can see India is suffering from inequality. And last but not the least, can we talk about the CAG corruption under this government? It brought down the UPA. It should bring down the Modi government if there was enough people with courage and conviction to take it to the public domain. This is a corrupt government.
No.
This is an
Sanju Verma, he did not interrupt you. You must have the courtesy to listen to Brajesh Kalappa very quickly, because then Maria has statewide results to offer. Brajesh Kalappa, when you look, at the end of the day, we are only giving numbers. Just a minute, ma'am. We are just looking at the numbers, and the numbers are heavily weighed in the NDA's favor at the moment.
See, Rajdeep, as far as hyper-nationalism is concerned, and this is something which the Modi government and the BJP have always been known for. I think three issues have really dented this government on that front. One, like I said, what happened in Pahalgam. Second is when Trump imposes a higher tariff than Pakistan on India, and Mr. Modi had a history of having said that Ab ki baar.
But it's not reflecting in our numbers, sir. Mr. Kalappa, all of what you're saying is not reflecting in the number. Then Mr. Modi's popularity should have significantly diminished. It has not.
No, but the point is, Rajdeep, like I pointed out earlier, that these numbers, they are at variance with what the results are. And these were the numbers you projected, like I said, in 2024. There's a difference of about 75 to 80 seats from what you projected in 2024 to what actually the BJP got, or the NDA got in the May elections. I think there was a difference between 75 to 80 seats. So
there was a substantial difference, and I think Raj Chengappa, very quickly, you should answer that, because it's all very well to have mood of the nation polls saying definitively if elections are held today, 352 seats. There's a point in what Brajesh Kalappa says. We all got it wrong, including your mood of the nation of January 2024. So are you going to give some caveats that, all these polls that we put out, there will be those who will say, why should we believe it? There's no general election until 2029.
Well, yeah, I think, as you said earlier, this is a barometer at a particular point of time. There will be events that will overtake it. If you remember, in 2019, since the BJP spokesperson was talking about it, there was Balakot that happened post our polls, and we saw that the NDA went on to win handsomely. The BJP did extremely well during that time because security became a big issue. That wasn't there when the polls were being held, the Mood of the Nation polls. So there are big events that have happened. Interestingly that you mentioned that, Rajdeep, if you take a look at Operation Sindoor, and that should have given the numbers to the BJP and the NDA for their performance and their success that has happened in the August polls, but their numbers actually dropped to 260 or so. And one of the reasons is, and that is why I think you'll see a lot of contradictory findings in some of these things that as we get deeper into it, is that the narrative that they built about it was knocked down by President Trump, who claimed that he brokered the peace.
Okay, I'm going to stop you, Raj, because we've got a lot of numbers to go through, particularly the states.
Perhaps it is reflecting, as Raj was saying, about contradictory numbers or narratives. Look at this number. This is about projected vote share in the poll-bound states. We are starting with what will be the mother of all battles, which will be in West Bengal. The projected vote share for the NDA in Mood of the Nation January 2026 as of today is 42%. India Bloc, which is largely the TMC, is at 54%. So the vote share gap is 12% between NDA and India Bloc, which is at 54%. And if it was converted into number of seats, these are Lok Sabha numbers, it will be TMC at 28. Remember, in 2024 Lok Sabha, the TMC had won 29 seats, the Congress had won 1. The BJP then had 12. Right now, the BJP is at 14, so they're making a gain of 2 seats. This is how the numbers are projected if the Lok Sabha elections were held in an important poll-bound state, which is the state of West Bengal. Now, let's look at Tamil Nadu. Important election again playing out in Tamil Nadu. BJP is trying to, build an important alliance. They're calling it NDA. NDA at 33%, India Bloc again at 45%, a gap of 12% between India Bloc, which is largely the DMK-led India Bloc in Tamil Nadu. If it was to be converted into Lok Sabha numbers, NDA will be only at 1. Remember, in 2024 Lok Sabha elections, they could not really open their account. In Tamil Nadu, India at 38. It's a 39 members who come from the state of Tamil Nadu. We are moving again ahead to the state of Kerala, beautiful state. UDF at 40%. Let's move to Kerala now. LDF at 28%, BJP at 25%. So they are making a gain from 17% in the Lok Sabha elections of 2024 to now at 25%. If it was to be converted into seats, this is how the numbers would be. UDF at 18, LDF will not be able to open its account, and BJP at 2. Now, another poll-bound state, this is the state of Assam. NDA comfortably ahead at 54%. The India Bloc at 33%, despite Gaurav Gogoi making some inroads or trying to make inroads, a huge gap of roughly around 21% between India Bloc, which is led by Gaurav Gogoi and the Congress party. And in terms of the seat, it will be 12 and 2. So, Rajdeep, this is how the picture looks like. We'll be looking at... Okay, so let's look at Uttar Pradesh also, although the elections will be in 2027 January. Uttar Pradesh firmly with the NDA at 47%, India Bloc at 42%, although the gap is not much. But in Lok Sabha elections, it was 44% each. At that time, Akhilesh Yadav-led PDA did generate a positive narrative for them, which converted into number of seats in terms of advantage for them. So 80 seats is how the Lok Sabha is the total number of MPs that are sent from the state of Uttar Pradesh. Right now, if the elections were held, in NDA at 48, India Bloc at 31, this is largely Samajwadi Party. But the concern is, why did their seats go down from what it was in Lok Sabha elections of 2024?
You know, if you look at these numbers, Marianne, we've got to put the caveat, and remember, an assembly election is very different to Lok Sabha. There
Absolutely.
are local factors that play. But it's very clear. Look at the 4 poll-bound states, 4 big poll-bound states. You can add Puducherry, of course. But the 4 big poll-bound states going to the polls in April, the India Alliance at the moment is ahead in 3. The numbers of Bengal may be a bit misleading because they add the TMC's vote along with the Congress. They may not go into an alliance, almost certainly not go into an alliance in those elections. But broadly, the India Alliance is holding in terms of the number of seats they would win, or the TMC is holding. Turn to Tamil Nadu. If these numbers are right, and Tamil Nadu has a twist in those numbers because the others have gone up substantially. And who's the others? That's Vijay and the TVK. So the TVK is the real X factor in Tamil Nadu.
Yes.
And no one knows how that will play in Vidhan Sabha. Will he be an NTR-like figure, first day, first show, box office hit? But if these numbers hold, DMK at the moment has the edge again. So that's India Alliance. Turn to Kerala, where the BJP is growing in vote share, but the battle remains between the 2 main fronts, UDF, LDF. And the UDF, the Congress-led UDF, has an advantage. Interestingly, today, Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge met Shashi Tharoor, a sign that they want to now present a much more united front. The real, and Assam, it's very clear as of now in a bipolar race, advantage BJP. So, if you look at out of the 4 states, 3 states are going to one of the India Alliance parties when the results come out in May as per these polls, 1 going to the BJP. And then Uttar Pradesh, where the real turnaround is taking place. And this and Maharashtra are the states that are giving NDA more seats if Lok Sabha elections were held today. But it shows that in the next 3 months, the opposition has opportunities. The question is the opposition good enough to capitalize on the opportunities? We'll be discussing the opposition more closely, but it also shows that different states of India still vote very, very differently, that this is not a country where one size fits all, Raj Chengappa. That as you go through states where there are regional bastions, DMK, even the TVK, the UDF and LDF, very regional parties in Kerala, TMC in Bengal, Hemanta, strong regional leader in Assam, it almost seems that the nature of the election narrative changes. Then it's not about Mr. Modi. It's about state factors.
Exactly, Rajdeep, and I agree with the caveat you put. You can't really take these numbers and project it and think that this would work for the assembly polls. They're vastly different issues. Let's not forget the mood of the nation is about national issues, and therefore a lot of that begins to reflect in terms of the percentages. But I think the larger message here is that if TMC is holding and if Stalin is holding, then the regional forces, the regional chieftains are holding their ground, which makes it very difficult for the BJP to penetrate these states, because even at this time, as you can see, there's a 10% vote gap in say, West Bengal. And of course, in Tamil Nadu, BJP is not the real force that it wants to be. So if you look at this, the big message is that the regional forces are holding their ground. The BJP will still, even if the Congress is on the decline, as we've seen in the center, it is these forces that is propping up the India alliance. And of course, we can't say more beyond that, because finally it'll be local issues, local assessments of how this particular government has done to determine who will win. And
interestingly, also in 2024, Rajdeep, that narrative of 400 par made the NDA-led BJP, I should say BJP, very complacent. So the BJP supporters in a state such as Uttar Pradesh also realized it was a long election spread across several phases, that should they really have to, exercise their right to vote, or wait, because it will be 400 par anyways. So I think that complacency that the BJP had in 2024 Lok Sabha elections, they have tried to really repair, done some kind of course correction, gone back to the real drawing board to fix those problems, and that's why we are seeing multiple state elections turn around.
Absolutely, and what has happened is, I think it's very interesting. In the run-up to 2024, yes, the BJP was overconfident. In the post-2024 scenario, right, the opposition almost got complacent. Thought that if we've done reasonably well, not as if they had got some majority, reasonably well, that momentum will carry forward. As we are seeing in a state like Uttar Pradesh, clearly the BJP has done course correction. Clearly the BJP is a party which is willing to be very flexible at times. The Congress, on the other hand, it's only now that you've got Shashi Tharoor back on board so that you have a strong front in Kerala, because you've realized that some opinion polls are saying there is a Tharoor factor on the ground, especially among the young. You've got to be very nimble and flexible in politics. And I think that's something that the BJP has shown that it is. But moment you go into state elections and with regional players, the BJP finds, as we found in previous elections, much tougher to take on regional parties than they have national party. The Congress almost seems as the perfect enemy, their perfect opponent at times. Easier for them to take on the Congress, like in an Assam, it appears in a bipolar fight, than it is in an election where local factors and regional parties matter. But Rajdeep,
the counter can be that there was an important election in Bihar. Right. The challenger was a regional player. But why was it not able to even put up a fight in the state?
Because, Maria, they had a regional leader in Nitish Kumar. You see, the BJP has different formulae for different states. Where you have a strong regional player against them, you find a strong regional leader with whom you ally. JDU brought a lot, Nitish in particular, brought a lot to the BJP's basket in 2025 Bihar. So I think the BJP has learned the art of how to fight elections. Now, there could be
different ways in different states.
Sam Dam Danda Bhed. I know that Sanju Verma will not like my using the word, and she's welcome to respond to that. But the BJP is an election machine. I'm not saying that, Sanju ji, in a negative way. Jo jeeta wo Sikandar. But as you are seeing in 2026, in 3 of the 4 states, as of now, the India alliance is ahead of you, or as you call it, the ... alliance.
Rajdeep, I want to say one thing. During my MBA days, our marketing professors told us that the worst thing you can do to a product which has failed is to refuse to take that product off the shelf. Rahul Gandhi, under his belt, has 95 plus electoral losses, big and small, to his credit or discredit, as you will. Yet, the Congress Darbari ecosystem feels Rahul Gandhi is the next thing after brown bread and spaghetti. Khair, Rahul Gandhi, unko mubarak ho. I want to say one thing. As you said it, and even Maria, BJP is not just, an electoral juggernaut or an election machine. I think we carefully analyze the electoral factors in every given state. We know that what works in UP will not work in Haryana, what works in Maharashtra will not work in Madhya Pradesh, what works in Goa will certainly not work in West Bengal going forward. That is the second point. But the third and the most important point, you can call me a Modi cheerleader, you can call me a Modi andhbhakt. I really don't care. When I say you, I mean the Darbari ecosystem, not Rajdeep specifically. The fact of the matter is, on the one hand, you have a man called Narendra Modi who's working 24/7. On the other hand, you have a prime ministerial aspirant in Rahul Gandhi, who before the Bihar election campaign was in Malaysia, in the middle of the Bihar election campaign was in Peru. Can I finish now, please? This is not fair. 10 seconds. Please bear with me. Please. In the middle of the Bihar campaign, Rajdeep Sardesai, my good friend, Rahul Gandhi, was in Peru, Brazil, and Colombia.
No, but the opposition is winning 3 of the 4 states. Ma'am, I have only, we have time limits. Rahul Gandhi, we are going to discuss in the next. We are going to discuss Rahul Gandhi. Madam, I am only asking you to assess the 4 state finding. Let Brajesh, you see, the opposition.
10 seconds. No, this is unfair. 10 seconds, please.
No, everything cannot be unfair.
No,
10 seconds, exactly 10.
Yes, and without you interjecting, hold your horses. In the middle of the Bihar elections, Rahul Gandhi in Peru, Brazil, Colombia, and after Bihar elections, when he got 6 out of 61 seats, I would have thought he will stand shoulder to shoulder with his Congress Karyakartas, but he was holidaying in Muscat. You are not there with your Karyakartas when they lose. You're not there when they win.
Okay, your 10 seconds are up, ma'am. You're not answering why is the opposition doing so well in the state elections coming up. I just want Brajesh Kalappa. Brajesh Kalappa, if these results hold, they are Lok Sabha findings and therefore the sample size is also smaller. But if these findings hold, do you believe the India alliance is still alive? Or do you believe the India alliance will have to be reinvented? A quick answer.
No, see, Rajdeep, as far as the India alliance is concerned, I think your figures are showing what the likely results are going to be. But as far as Sanju Verma's comment about Rahul Gandhi, first of all, she has to make up her mind. Is she a well-wisher of the Congress party? Why is she thinking so much about the Congress party and its leadership? Let her focus on what the BJP is. They need not lecture us on who we are going to make as a leader. In 2014,
none of you are explaining, by your focus on Rahul Gandhi, none of you are explaining to me, which I would have liked to hear, why is it that the opposition seems to be doing well in states with strong regional satraps?
Then what about Mr. Modi? We all expected in 2014 that Mr. Wadhwani will become the Prime Minister. How did Mr. Modi come over? So is he also a selected Prime Minister?
Brajesh Kalappa.
Leave us to our affairs. Let congressmen decide who we are going to have as a leader.
Okay, Brajesh Kalappa, we've heard you. No, we've heard both sides. None of you are trying to explain. You see, that's why we are trying to analyze the numbers before us. Just as Prime Minister Modi's ratings are very high, as of now, in the opposition-ruled states at the moment, or states of the India Alliance is holding. And that is interesting because it shows a difference between the way there is a perception of Prime Minister Modi on national issues and how state issues are perceived by the same voters. And maybe that reflects, in a way, Indian democracy, hopefully, as a much more diverse democracy than we sometimes imagine. I want to take a break, Maria, because we will go back to the opposition and Rahul Gandhi in a moment. Every Mood of the Nation poll invariably ends up with Rahul Gandhi as a central figure. Okay, let's take a break. We'll be back with more. We'll look at the state of the opposition next.
Introducing Motorola Signature.
आपको शायद पता नहीं होगा, अपार ने आईएनएस विक्रांत के लिए 150 से ज्यादा तरह के केबल्स बनाए हैं। देश के टॉर्पीडोस में भी हैं अपार के केबल्स। वंदे भारत भी अपार के केबल से ही स्पीड पकड़ती है और यही वायर्स और केबल्स हमारे घरों को भी पावर करते हैं। विश्वास इसमें अपार, तभी तो ये है देश का तार।
Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out.
India's longest standing biannual survey, India Today Mood of the Nation. As the government handled Trump's Operation Sindoor claims well, if US tariffs remain unchanged, how do Indians think India should respond? Who do citizens blame most for Delhi's worsening air pollution? India Today Mood of the Nation has the answers. On stands 30th January. Subscribe now and get 500 rupees off on all one-year print plus digital subscriptions. Log on to subscriptions.intoday.in.
महाराष्ट्राच्या राजकीय आणि सामाजिक जीवनातला आजचा काळा दिवस आहे. अजितदादा पवार यांच्याशिवाय महाराष्ट्राचं राजकारण, समाजकारण हे बेचव आणि आळणी होईल. बारामती आणि त्यांचं एक नातं होतं आणि त्याच बारामतीमध्ये त्यांना मृत्यू यावा हा एक विचित्र योग आहे. चार्टर्ड फ्लाइट के इतने हादसे हो गए, इतने लोग मारे गए. हाँ, डीजीसी हर बार इन्वेस्टिगेशन की घोषणा करती है. क्या हो गया? हमारे सामने कुछ तथ्य और सत्य तो आना चाहिए जनता के सामने. अजित पवार जैसा एक कद्दावर नेता, महाराष्ट्र के डिप्टी सीएम, लोकप्रिय नेता, कल इस प्रकार से विमान हादसे में उनका देहांत हो गया, उनका निधन हो गया. महाराष्ट्र नहीं, पूरा देश सदमे में. कैसा हो गया? उसमें क्या टेक्निकल गड़बड़ी थी ये सामने आना चाहिए. अगर फ्लाइट में टेक्निकल गड़बड़ी है, रडार सिस्टम में गड़बड़ है, और क्या है, एयरपोर्ट पर है, उस बारे में देश के सामने, जनता के सामने.
What makes you protest against the new UGC norms? Why do you see that? Why do you think that we are seeing the kind of mass protest that we are, the likes of you, who usually have agreed with the government, joining in?
The new UGC regulation is draconian, anti-constitution, anti-India, and must be repealed. To say that only one set of Indians are oppressors, others are not, is ridiculous. There is no data to back this assertion. There is no data at all to say that, one set of people are oppressing the others. This goes back to the UPS, communal bill, which tried to fix Hindus to say they are the oppressors against Muslims, which is ridiculous. This is anti-constitutional and should be sacked, and there is no protection against false cases. Today we saw an RJD spokesperson saying that they're going to file false cases against general category. We saw one video on X which says that a person of a reserved category proposed to a girl of a general category when she refused. He went and filed an SC/ST case. This is ridiculous. This is going to happen. And today we saw data on X which says that when you look at suicides, student suicide in IIT over the last 3 to 5 years come across all communities. It's not only reserved community. General category people also commit suicide. Is a problem across. And lastly, the total number of any caste complaints for discrimination is around 400 or 350 or so, when 4.3 crore young people are in college. Is it such a great pandemic that you have to bring some draconian regulations and give powers to some leftist NGOs and activists? I mean, this is ridiculous. This anti-constitution must be repealed, or otherwise, government must say all students need to be protected from caste discrimination. irrespective of background.
Hi, I'm Sana. Here's your weather update. Delhi maximum 21 and minimum 11 degrees. Mumbai maximum 26 and minimum 21 degrees. Kolkata maximum 30 and minimum 16 degrees. Bengaluru maximum 28 and minimum 16 degrees. Chennai maximum 26 and minimum 22 degrees. Hyderabad maximum 30 and minimum 16 degrees.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. Introducing Motorola Signature.
Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out.
Hello and welcome once again. Our continuing coverage of the India Today C-Voter biannual Mood of the Nation tracker, a poll that tracks the mood of the nation as it stands today. What if Lok Sabha elections were held today? And it is showing clearly that if elections are held today, the BJP and Prime Minister Modi get a big thumbs up. That's what the early findings of the poll say. What is the state of the opposition? That's what we're going to go next on the poll. But first, let's bring you the headlines with Preeti and me at this moment. The India Today Mood of the Nation poll suggests that Prime Minister Modi and the BJP's poll stocks continue to rise. If elections were held today, the BJP would get over 290 seats on its own, the NDA over 350. But in the poll-bound states, it is advantage to the India alliance partners at the moment. Hemanta Biswa Sarma holding his own in Assam. This if Lok Sabha polls, of course, were held in these states. Ahead of budget, the Modinomics mood check suggests that the economy remains resilient. 7% plus growth rate predicted by the economic survey. The Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman's economic survey projects growth at 7.4%. The Mood of the Nation points out that the economy still remains a major concern for many.
If elections were to happen today, you just saw that it is the NDA that is coming back with a larger vote share and a larger seat share. But what is the state of the opposition, Rajdeep? In the last trackers of the mood of the nation, we had clearly seen that Rahul Gandhi and the Congress was doing well, better at least in the last mood of the nation polls. But that was in August, and things have changed dramatically since then. Many states where the Congress and the opposition has done terribly, the NDA has triumphed. So let's take a look in the second part of our mood of the nation on how the opposition is faring, on what the mood of the nation is on that account. All right, so the best person suited to lead the India Bloc alliance, if at all there is an India Bloc, Rahul Gandhi, and if he is standing at 29%, Mamata Banerjee at 7%, Arvind Kejriwal at 6%, Akhilesh Yadav at 6%. If you look at the tracker there, Rahul Gandhi since August 2025 has risen by 1%, a marginal decline of Mamata Banerjee, Arvind Kejriwal, sharp decline if you go back the last 2 years, Akhilesh Yadav, marginal increase of just about 1%. Let's get you the second question that the mood of the nation posed to the respondents' opinion on Rahul's performance as leader of opposition. What does India think? What is the mood of the nation on the leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha and the one who leads the India Alliance? Outstanding, 24%, good, 20%, average 18%, poor 17%, very poor 14%. So good in all 44%, poor 32%. Marginal drop in the good percentage since the last mood of the nation poll. Let's go on now to the other question that was posed to our respondents. Performance of Congress as the opposition. Good 47%, poor 32%. But you know, we are going to get you the tracker as well of the mood of the nation polls over the course of the last 2 years. And you will see that the Congress, though had risen to a 47% in August 2025, it's fallen by 6% in January 2026. And that, of course, Rajdeep, comes at the back of multiple states that have gone to polls, in the last 7-8 months, and the opposition completely getting swept aside by the might of the NDA.
That's right. Clearly, what the mood of the nation is showing compared to August is while the BJP has held on, stabilized, Prime Minister Modi's ratings remain high, there has been some kind of a dip that the opposition has faced. Before we go deep into the opposition, because we are now joined by Yashwant Deshmukh of C Voter, I just want two caveats to be put out here, Yashwant. First, can you tell us the methodology? How many respondents do you have, and when was this poll done?
Well, in the MOTN, the questions that we are showing on the screen, Rajdeep, that is done in the last 8 weeks, and that is almost like 35,000 plus respondents out there. And there are almost 90,000 plus respondents in our tracker since 15th of August issued till now, which we have used consolidated for the vote and seats projection at the state level.
So this is 35,000 or 90,000 overall?
This is overall 125,000 plus. Actually, you have to
90,000 plus 35,000.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the sample size, which is a significantly large sample size, and it's a daily tracker, as you know it. I mean, we have been doing it day in and day out, and we can see the way it is going. However, one thing which I want to say it here, Raj, first of all, congratulations for the 50th anniversary of India Today. These milestones are very important, Rajdeep, because they are important for us as well. This year also marks our 25 year of association with India Today. So it's 50th year of India Today and 25th year of India C Voter doing Mood of the Nation and other service for India Today.
And this is, of course, in an era where no film, even Dhurandhar, struggles to make a silver jubilee or golden jubilee. They make a lot of money, but not silver jubilee, golden jubilee. The second part I wanted to know, your projected seat share for the BJP is 287. That's up by about 20 odd seats compared to what it was in August. 352 for the NDA. That's again up by about 29 seats compared to August. Where are these numbers coming from? Where is the opposition declining and where is the BJP gaining?
I think if you compare it with 2024 Lok Sabha verdict, Rajdeep, the biggest changes are being witnessed in the states where BJP had faced the setback, unexpected setback. including Maharashtra, UP, Rajasthan. So these are the areas where arguably BJP has improved and arguably the Congress numbers have gone down. But there are also some few new things which are coming up. Like in this round, we can clearly see a very significant advantage for the BJP for the first time in the state of Telangana. And that is something which is unique, because if you see the vote share rise, you will also realize that BJP's vote share has gone up, even though marginally, but even it has gone up in West Bengal. It hasn't really converted in that kind of a number that for them in West Bengal yet. But to see that they are holding up the vote share of 40% plus in West Bengal underlines the fact that West Bengal has become a bipolar contest now, and it is getting more and more bipolar.
But is it as simplistic, to extrapolate what you're looking at Lok Sabha numbers, Yashwant, and extrapolate them where you're looking at particular states? Because we have upcoming elections. You have elections coming up in the state of West Bengal.
And
if these numbers are to go by.
Right. You are absolutely correct. This particular assessment is only for the Lok Sabha. But please remember that the Modi dividend for BJP is generally in the Lok Sabha number and less and less on the Vidhan Sabha numbers.
So can we make one thing clear, and a caveat there? For those of our viewers who are trying to extrapolate these numbers and say that, okay, the BJP is going to do better in West Bengal, it should hold on a little, because we are looking at Lok Sabha numbers and you really cannot compare and, juxtapose it with the state election which is coming up for the state of West Bengal.
Certainly wait patiently, Preeti, because we do have the tracker numbers for all those states, but I mean, not today. Certainly, Rajdeep and we will certainly be discussing that sometime very soon.
Okay, let's look at the opposition. We'll also look at what we didn't do in the previous section. What are the strengths of the Modi government? What are the weaknesses? My producer will put those numbers up. But first, the opposition itself. Raj Chengappa, what this is showing, Rahul Gandhi's performance, outstanding at the moment, 24%, good 20%. That's 44%. But there is a significant also number which see it at either average poor or very poor. Do you believe, when you look at these numbers, that Rahul Gandhi is now undoubtedly the face of the opposition? That is being proven in our Mood of the Nation. When people ask who is your preferred choice as an opposition leader, by and large, not just Congress, but even other voters look at Rahul Gandhi. But he isn't able to come anywhere close to Mr. Modi's numbers. How do you see that? That just as elections are becoming in some parts bipolar, when it's a personality contest, Mr. Modi still stands well above Rahul Gandhi. Well, or is that an unfair question to Rahul Gandhi himself?
I know Rahul Gandhi is a favorite punching bag for a lot of politicians and journalists. But let's give credit where it's due. He certainly, though there has been a dip in, in terms of his performance, overall, he has emerged as the prime challenger to Prime Minister Modi, as well as, if you look at it, he is seen as the leader of the India alliance, quite overwhelmingly over the others. What has happened, unfortunately, and it's also his problem as well, is that the Congress has had a string of defeats since its good performance, say, compared to what it did in the past in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. They should have won Haryana. They made the mistake of being complacent. They lost it. They should have bandied the India alliance together, although they were a junior partner in Maharashtra. They should have brought them together and strategized far, far better than what they had done. They would have had better results. Then when you come to Bihar again, you saw the kind of dissonance that happened with their partners over there, the RJD, and therefore they lost really good opportunities to consolidate what they did in 2024. They didn't push it. On Rahul Gandhi's part, let's give him credit. The vote chori campaign that he's done, that has gained traction. I'll just finish, Preeti, and then I'll this thing. Certainly has brought him to the limelight, and people appreciate it. But the problem is, he seems too much of a one-trick horse when he does that. There are large issues that he could have attacked in the manner that he did with vote chori, the systematic manner, the performance of the government, and looked at the various programs, the economy, foreign policy. There were a lot of issues. They could have expanded the ambit and criticized the government and come through. And at the same time, he must, as leader of the opposition, project himself not just as the angry young man or middle-aged at the moment, but someone who lauds the government when it does well and wax it when it doesn't. I mean, that kind of maturity needs to come into
the narrative
play.
that has been played where Rahul Gandhi is concerned, vote chori, we're going to get onto the figures later, but if we just look, both Yashwant and Rajdeep and Raj, if you get in a bit of the micro data coming in here on which Congress leaders best suited to lead the party, and why I bring this piece of data up, Rajdeep, is that it was only in November 2024 that Priyanka Gandhi actually became a member of parliament, which was November 2024, where she came into the Rajya Sabha. More vocal, vociferous, putting her voice forward. So interesting there, because our last mood of the nation was conducted right before that in August. So Yashwant, even then, with the advent of Priyanka Gandhi in parliament making those speeches which have gone down really well with at least, those who view the opposition very closely, even then, the demarcation is very clear where, our respondents are concerned. They're clearly picking Rahul Gandhi, by a huge margin to lead the opposition than even Priyanka Gandhi.
That would be slightly unfair to Priyanka, Preeti, because, Rahul has been there for a really long time. Priyanka has just entered, and somehow the message among the voter is that she is not allowed to take the lead. I don't know why, but when we discuss it with the respondents, when they give their answers, somehow this feeling comes in that she will be not allowed to lead. If you ask a direct question, which by the way, in one of the MOTNs we did earlier, about asking a direct question, Priyanka Gandhi actually came up with almost like 36 or 37% of people saying that, okay, she is probably a better bet for the Congress to lead in. So it would be unfair that she is unable to come up. In fact, it is quite credible.
But then why didn't you ask the direct question?
True.
That would have given us a clearer picture.
Because if you look
when I look at this graphic, it gives a very unclear picture, Yashwant.
Well, Rajdeep, I will make it a point as Rajdeep's question in the next poll that I run. You give me the wordings, whichever word you want to put it in, and I will certainly get back to you with the answers.
Also, let's, the fact is, let's not detract credit from Rahul Gandhi. He may not be as eloquent as Priyanka Gandhi is there, and therefore you can see in this TV-friendly kind of political scenario, she gets the marks. Where I think he really lacks is providing an alternative to Prime Minister Modi and the vision that he has. He did have a little vision that was there in 2024 when he talked of social justice. He hasn't broad-based that. He hasn't really worked on that aspect and provided an economic vision that will challenge the NDA and Prime Minister Modi.
That's a good point, because let's look at the weaknesses in a moment of the Modi government, where they are seen as strong and where they are seen as weak. But Charan Singh Sapra, national spokesperson of the Congress, joins us, along with others who are joining us at this moment. Tuhin Sinha of the BJP. Your first reactions to what has been projected so far. You take it, Charan Singh Sapra, first. We'll come to the NDA government failures with Tuhin Sinha, but this Rahul factor, many see Rahul Gandhi as your strength and your weakness. He gives the opposition or gives the Congress party some kind of a vigor when he's out there, leading you from the front. But at the same time, when he's pitted against Prime Minister Modi, there's a huge gap. Do you believe that Rahul Gandhi, as Raj Chengappa is suggesting, needs to redefine himself? He can't be the permanent angry young or angry middle-aged man. He has to look at specific issues and issues that will resonate emotionally, connect with people perhaps far more strongly.
See, Rajdeep, one thing is clear that Rahul Gandhi is the prime challenger to the Narendra Modi or the Narendra Modi government. And if Mr. Chengappa, I respect him a lot, but if he's saying that, if he's trying to say that Rahul Gandhi has not sufficiently projected certain issues, let me remind him the two Padyatras. The two Padyatras which Rahul Gandhi ji had taken, those were on the farmer distress issue, the economic downfall issue. All these issues were the inflation was there. He had taken up various issues in parliament, also the federalism and the center-state relationship issue.
Charan Singh Sapra, the Bharat Jodo Yatra is now 3 years ago. We are now in 2026. At that time, Rahul Gandhi got a bump. He benefited from the Bharat Jodo Yatra. What are the new issues where he is able to consistently, I repeat, consistently, ghair the Modi government?
Yes, even today, he has been consistently talking on inflation, consistently talking on economy, consistently talking on the downfall of the rupee, consistently talking on the foreign policy, consistently talking on the education, health, and the social sector. He has been talking on all this. He has been talking on the way...
The charge against Rahul Gandhi has been that he's been consistently inconsistent, and I'll tell you why. You talk about Yatra. See what happened in Bihar. He took out a Yatra, no, on vote chori. Now, did it track in Bihar? Not quite. But has the narrative of vote chori stuck? We're going to get down to the numbers. I want to bring in Tuhin Sinha into this conversation, and we'll ask our producers to pull out the numbers on is Rahul's vote chori allegation, because of late, what you have seen is a constant and very consistent Sapra Saab, hammering of vote chori allegations by Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party against the Election Commission and government. Let's pull out the figures. Is Rahul's vote chori allegation an issue for voters? And Tuhin Sinha, this is something you might be a little worried about, because you've come on multiple of my shows and Rajdeep shows and said, what is this vote chori? Nobody cares, where the people are concerned. People care. Tuhin Sinha. It matters a lot. 40% of our respondents feel it matters a lot. Yes, to some extent, 14% of them. That makes 54% of our respondents say vote chori is an issue and it matters to the public. Only 27% say it doesn't, and no longer a pressing issue, 10%. Now, it might not be sticking electorally. That doesn't mean the narrative is not tracking, Tuhin Sinha. It is, as per numbers.
Well, good evening. Good evening, Preeti. Good evening, everybody. Well, I never said it doesn't matter. What I have said is that Rahul Gandhi, when he makes those allegations, he does not make sense. Because if you look at it in the trajectory, if you look at the journey of his last 18 months, from EVM tampering to voter list, to vote chori, to, finally the allegations of the PMC. So he has not even been consistent in the last 18 months. If 40% people believe that those allegations make sense, obviously, 40%, are people who would vote for the opposition, who might not vote for the BJP. So I don't think there is anything much to read into that. The overall results of your survey are very reassuring for BJP.
No, the big headline numbers are reassuring for the BJP, but specifically on vote chori, it may not be winning him votes. But people are, in a way, at least, it's registering with people. 40%, it matters a lot, is even higher than what the Congress's numbers are at the 14%, 54%. This is one of the few issues where the opposition seems to have at least built a narrative. You can't deny that. And the government, it reflects, in a way, whether there's enough confidence in that sense on the Election Commission as well.
Well, should I take your survey more seriously than the Bihar results? My inference of the Bihar results is that people punished Rahul Gandhi for the fake allegations right on the eve of the Bihar elections. Imagine AIMIM got 5 seats in Bihar, Congress party got 6 seats. That is the condition of the Congress party because of these vague, because of these baseless allegations.
The fact is, you can't come here and cherry pick. You can't gloat about the numbers where it comes, because the headline numbers clearly are in your favor. Much better.
No, I'm telling you about the timing. Right on the eve of,
you can't deny the micro data there. I know Charan Singh Sapra wants to come in, but
I am linking it with the timing of his allegations. Allow me to complete. Allow me to complete why I'm saying it. Sir. He made those allegations on the eve of Bihar voting, right? So obviously they had the impact on Bihar voting, which is what we saw. The Congress getting decimated to its lowest numbers.
Let me bring in another set of data to maybe.
Can I just...
Charan Singh Sapra, will you stay with me? Allow me to bring in the next set of data, which will only help you, sir, believe me. And I'll bring in Yashwant on that, as well as Raj. Rajdeep, on the question of are elections free and fair in India? Now, this is a charge that the Congress, every day says that elections in this country are compromised at the behest of the Election Commission. 37% of our respondents feel no, that elections are not free and fair in India? 57% of them, of course, feel yes. I don't know what side you're looking at, Rajdeep, but if 37% of the people in this country who we have spoken to, our respondents, feel that elections are not free and fair, there might be, voters for the India alliance. Nevertheless, this is a cause for concern.
Well, there are two ways to look at it. One, there are voters of the... Look at the numbers of the India alliance of the parties, non-BJP parties. They're roughly around this. If I'm not a voter today of the NDA, I'm not fully convinced that elections are free and fair. The voters of the NDA are 47%, or 10% more believe elections are free and fair. I think we have to separate the two issues. Are elections in India broadly free and fair, I think? And Yashwant can tell us specifically what question he asked. I think most Indians will say, हाँ, चुनाव तो ठीक-ठाक होते हैं. Lekin, when you break it down and say, is there vote chori? Then the numbers are more troubling. Yashwant, you want to explain the contradiction? 54% are agreeing that there is some kind of vote chori, but 57% are saying elections are free and fair.
Let me put it this way. They are not agreeing that there is some kind of vote chori. They say that these allegations are serious and they want clarity and they want transparency in the process.
But they are saying elections are free and fair.
Listen, because the people, you said 37% are opposition voters, but opposition doesn't mean the opposition at the national level. These 37%, Rajdeep, also include BJP supporters from West Bengal. These 37% also include AIADMK supporters in Tamil Nadu. So basically what is happening here is that there is a section which feels when they are not winning properly, they feel that something is odd, something is not matching up, number one. Number two, they trust election process, they trust election commission, but they want the process to be absolutely crisp, clear, and transparent. They want election commission to be more forthcoming, more taking the decisions in the right way. They are supporting SIR, by the way. Huge, overwhelming majority of the Indians support SIR.
Let's bring it. Okay, on that note, Yashwant, stay with me. On that note, let's bring out the number, Rajdeep, is on the question of, is SIR process free from political bias? What do the respondents say? Practically, the number is very close to our elections free and fair. So, which is 50% say yes, the process of SIR is free from political bias. 38% say no, there is political bias in the SIR process. Complete, yes.
So what I genuinely believe that people at large, regardless of their political ideology or voting preference, they believe that elections are good, they trust the election commission, but somehow when you keep on raising an issue, right or wrong, I'm not going into that debate right now, it plants doubts in the mind of the voters. Okay, now the voters are not saying that election commission chore hai, Ganesh Kumar istifa do, and that kind of rhetoric. Voters are not going in that direction. All they want, SIR should be carried out, but it should be carried out in the most transparent possible way. And if there are allegations of vote chori and all that thing, it should be, dealt with. It should be taken forward in the utmost seriousness, and election commission should be working out to level up and clear those doubts from the voters' mind. So these are the things which are as a split in terms of voters' race. Now from here, how do you go forward for the election reforms? Everybody wants election reforms. There are so many questions. You have already shown the question of, if I'm not wrong, in the first part of the thing, whether giving the cash doles before the election is correct.
That's coming up.
Yeah.
Okay, let's bring it up.
I saw initially in somewhere, so I thought that you had already told that in the first part. I'm sorry about
we haven't. Rajdeep, should I just bring in those numbers?
Please.
Let's get in those numbers right now. Should parties be allowed to promise or distribute freebies? Yes, only 19%. 50% of people say no, but clearly they are voting in for the government despite knowing that it's not what they want.
That's what I'm saying. People are extremely aligned with the progressive agenda. If you talk to them about the reforms they want it, that doesn't mean that do not trust election commission.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they not trust of electoral process in India. Making it better and better. Yes, there is a thumping mandate for making the processes better.
But this is and Raj, maybe you'd want to reflect on that. And let's bring in Rajdeep, our next question. Who is responsible for stopping parties from promising freebies? Now, read it, viewers, with the question that we had asked earlier, where you had a whopping 50% that said that freebies should not be distributed before elections. So who is responsible for stopping parties from promising freebies? People understand that 44% of respondents feel it is the responsibility of the Election Commission. The Election Commission needs to crack the whip. 44% of the people, our respondents, feel so. 22% feel that the court should step in. The Supreme Court voters themselves 20%. No one should stop it. It's just 6%. But Rajdeep, now this is where our respondents know that Election Commission is responsible. They don't want freebies, yet they are voting for this government despite of not wanting it.
Look, this is where there are lots of caveats to be put. I think we need to separate somewhere electoral preferences, which party I vote for and why, with what is my mood when I'm asked a straight question by Yashwant's team, do you support freebies or not? Many people will say, no, ye sab muft mein de rahe hain, it's wrong, ye nahi hona chahiye. But when I get 10,000 rupees before a BR election, who will I vote for? I think you see, that's why I think we need to look at the nuances. It's very well to say, should parties be allowed to promise or distribute freebies? 50% are saying no. A substantial number of those 50% who are beneficiaries or labharthis of those freebies may well vote for that particular party. So we need to make that distinction. Similarly with SIR and the other issues that you raised. If you look at about a decade ago when CSDS used to do polls on Election Commission credibility, the numbers would be 75%, 80%. 80% would say, no, Election Commission is very good in this country. The numbers have come down. Please understand, in a democracy like India, which has, unlike our neighbors, held elections consistently without violence, with minimal violence for so many years, it is worrying if even 38 or 40% people are saying we have some kind of concern over whether the elections are free and fair in terms of whether there's vote chori.
So I think that's problematic.
So I think there is, so I think therefore, as I said, the direct question may give you one number, but it also reveals some level of misgivings that now seem to be lingering on. I don't know whether Raj, you agree with that there are voters out there who are concerned with the direction that Indian democracy at times is taking, particularly electoral democracy.
It's a very interesting set of questions and the answers that came through, and they are linked in some way, starting from Rahul Gandhi's vote chori, the fact that 38% believe that the elections could be biased when it is being conducted, and what you had also said in the other subsequent questions that were there. They all are a great cause for concern, because even if 38%, that's a large number who believe that it is biased, and they give that opinion, it is for the Election Commission of India, as they try to say, even when it comes to freebies, to stop them from giving it at the doorstep of an election, or just when they're about to announce it. I mean, the Election Commission of India should take cognizance of these things. This has nothing to do with ideology, nothing to do with party preferences. We all care for democracy, and we want, this is the pride of India, that we have free and fair elections. If that in some way is being sullied, that is a cause for concern. And I think these numbers, this particular poll brings that out, that the special intensive revision, however necessary it is, the manner in which is being conducted, as Yashwant said, transparency is very critical. People want to know that this is a fair process. And I think the Election Commission has to be held accountable to this and go into these issues rather than just brush it away and say, well, it's, majority says that it is free and fair. That isn't. Even if 10% object, not even 30%, we should get deeply into this question.
Okay. In that sense, I think these numbers should worry the Election Commission. But Charan Singh Sapra, politics is also about winning elections. When we started today's Mood of the Nation, it shows the BJP still very, very rock solid in its numbers, in fact, increasing its numbers. Prime Minister's popularity rock solid. So while specific narratives like vote chori may be resonating with people, they are concerned, it is not resulting in a translation into changing voting preferences. Should that not worry you? The question I asked even my earlier panelists was trust factor. People mein abhi bhi Modi ji mein vishwas hai. And that vishwas factor is holding Mr. Modi and the BJP in good stead.
See, Rajdeep, all these three figures which you have given of vote chori and elections not fair and SIR not free, this shows that the credibility of the Election Commission is at stake. This is what Rahul Gandhi has been projecting again and again. He has been giving various examples also. He got so many proofs also. He's not just saying in air. He's giving with proofs that there is a vote chori going on. And when this special intensive revision becomes a special intensive rigging, when the election commissioner doesn't act like an umpire, he acts like a goalkeeper of BJP, then there are definitely things going to happen in the list. a customized voter list has been made of BJP. The process is on. The bulk deletions, the bulk additions, the favors being done to the BJP leaders during the SIR. We are not against SIR. We are saying that SIR should
do
be
you have
done
numbers
to
about public? Do you have numbers about specifically public faith in the Election Commission?
No, I don't think. Again, now this is a question which you say, Yashwant,
No, but
you should have asked a direct question.
Is there a question?
No,
Is there a
isn't.
question
No,
related?
we don't have that question.
Public faith to democracy? No.
We don't have that.
Okay.
Rajdeep's not very happy with Yashwant's questions.
No,
I'm just saying. There is a question about whom they trust the most.
Yes.
And there the armed forces come out on top and followed by the Supreme Court. I don't know if it's going to be flashing on that.
And number 3 is Election Commission. And Election Commission is trusted more than media and certainly way more than way more than the politicians. Politicians rank in the lowest bottom.
And
the people who trust it.
Be fair to the Election Commission of India. When asked who should be, imposing the rules on freebies, they put it right back to the Election Commission and say they should be stopping political parties rather than we going to courts. So there is faith in the Election Commission. It must live up to that faith. I think that's
You're right. I just want to, Rajdeep, because there's a dichotomy there, because we've been speaking for the, about the opposition, and Sanjay Jha, you can come in on this. It's something that you touched on earlier as well, that how the opposition has not been able to perform. And I'll tell you, the irony lies in these two questions. Do you think, and I'll ask our producers to pull the data out on both the questions. The question that was posed, Rajdeep, do you think Congress is real opposition party? There's the real party to lead the opposition. Yes, 55% of the respondents feel it is the Congress that should lead the opposition. Now, I'll tell you the other question, and let's flip it around. Is Congress the weakest link in the India bloc? 62% of the people actually feel Congress is the weakest link in the India bloc. Sanjay Jha, when you're looking at figures and data like this with what the voters today feel, there is despondency, because it sees that Tina factor, there is no other option. You're stuck with the Congress, but the Congress continues to be the weakest link, pulling the opposition down.
Preeti, this is exactly what I said to Rajdeep in the previous section of your Mood of the Nation program, that the Congress has to do the heavy lifting. The Congress is not just seen, it is a fact that the Congress will always be, even at its worst performance, the largest player in the India bloc alliance. The problem is that the Congress at this point of time is struggling with its own organizational dynamic, not yet got its act together. It's not yet demonstrating the hunger that is required. But there is another aspect that is very critical. I believe, and I'm going to say this to both Rajdeep and you and Mr. Chengappa as well, beating down Rahul Gandhi has become a national sport. And with due respects to everyone who's critical of him, I have been critical. I believe Rahul has to still do significantly better electorally for sure. But can we recognize that this has not been a level playing field for a long, long time? Can we recognize that the entire resources, whether it is electoral bond or thereafter on account of fear, is with the BJP? Can we also kind of acknowledge that the institutions have been so destroyed that today opposition leaders are hounded? They're completely, shall we say, at the mercy of various brutal organizations which have intimidated them, threatened them, harassed them. And with due respects to India Today, I think you guys are doing significantly better than the rest. But big media has also been hugely compromised. Rahul Gandhi is fighting, and the Congress is fighting with terrible headwinds. This is not a level playing field. I'm not even going to get into the Election Commission issue. Mr. Raji, just one point. On the Odisha state elections, there is proof on the ground that the integrity of that state election in 2024 needs to be investigated. If there is a chief minister of a state in BJP who's openly saying that the SIR deletions will help reduce a certain Muslims from the community and help him politically polarize the election, where is the Election Commission? Where is the Supreme Court of India? These are fundamental issues that we cannot ignore. We are a dysfunctional, we are a democracy in decline.
I think the word that, it's a word I've also used frequently, LPL, or level playing field. And I think that is something that Tuhin Sinha, most independent observers, I use the word, would suggest is true. There is no level playing field. I'm not saying there was a level playing field when the Congress was a dominant party, but it seems to have become even more brazen, the alleged misuse of institutions. You see, this is where the BJP is seen perhaps to be doing a disservice to democracy. You were supposed to be a party with a difference, but the misuse of enforcement agencies, the so-called cage parrot of the CBI, now you have the Enforcement Directorate. 95% of those leaders who have been who have charges against them are from the opposition. It almost seems that the ED does not operate in BJP-ruled states. A lot of public perception in mood of the nation polls like this is built on the perception created. You are seen to control the media, intimidate your opponents, misuse agencies. How do you respond to what we just heard from Sanjay Jha? There is no level playing field. That's the biggest caveat to any poll like this.
LPL has become a very convenient word to blame us for being successful. Now, if there is an increase, if there is a spurt in our ratings, there are two factors. It's very simple. We keep continuing to add to our list of successes. For example, in the last 6 months, just the last 6 months on the national security front, there has been Operation Sindoor. Post that, we are heading towards, we are on the cusp of a Naxal-free Bharat. Mind you, that's a huge achievement, which, not many in the media are talking about, but from 100 districts which were impacted in 2014 to less than 4 being impacted, that's a huge success. So we are adding to our list of successes. On the economic front, despite tariffs, we continue to grow at a 7.2% projected rate. That's huge. And obviously, the GST relief has been used. On the other hand, Rahul Gandhi, if you look in the...
Allow me. Nobody is denying what you're saying, and possibly it is reflecting in our headline numbers where people still, the respondents still have more faith in the NDA by a far shot than the opposition. But I'll give you an example, because look at the numbers as well. See what happened in Bihar, where freebies were doled out bang in the middle of elections. The same election commission then, come BMC, doesn't allow the freebies to go. That is where then you have apprehensions that come up, which raise a question mark on institutions that need to be free and fair. And those numbers are reflecting. Look at the question, who is responsible for stopping parties from promising freebies? Election Commission. But when the Election Commission, on one hand, allows these freebies to go in Bihar, and then on the other hand, stops it in BMC, what are you going to make of it? Go ahead, sir.
Now, allow me to answer, please. If you are comparing assembly elections, you should compare it with another assembly elections. You should compare Bihar with Jharkhand. I was in Jharkhand in 2024 November on the eve of elections. One day before the polling, the Maiya Samman amount was transferred to the accounts of all women in the state.
Every time a question on the Election Commission and the sanctity of the Election Commission is raised, why is the BJP so eager to come and start giving in explanations on that? You don't need to. You don't need to explain on how the Election Commission is functioning.
I'm just requesting you to draw the right equivalence. You can't. I'm just suggesting you draw the right equivalence. BMC does not even come under the Election Commission. Point is, these things have been happening. Whether they should happen, the freebie should happen or not, is a collective decision. All parties should get together and they should formulate a plan. But if there is a precedent in Jharkhand 1 year ago, you can't blame the Bihar government for doing the same.
Okay,
there's a difference between Jharkhand and Bihar, Tuhin, but that's another day. That's a conversation for another day.
Let me turn to a question that we wanted to ask earlier, but what are the NDAs? We're looking at the opposition, and as was suggested, Rahul Gandhi always is a favorite. Rahul bashing is very easy. But where is the BJP, the NDA scoring? Where is it not? If you look at the NDA government's biggest achievement, and this is held for a while now, Raj Chenkappa, 12% say Ram Temple. The temple is now, 2 years old, and yet it held. Operation Sindoor is 4%. So it's not, when you look at it, you would have thought since it's more recent, people would talk about Operation Sindoor with greater passion. They clearly don't. Development, 9%. Since that was an argument just now made by one of our panelists that the NDA is associated with development. So in terms of issues, it's the emotive Hindutva issue which still resonates the more. What is the biggest failure of the NDA government?
Let me just correct you on that one. There is a correction. There is a correction in that.
Biggest failure.
No, that's important. That's important. Please listen to Raj.
Biggest success, what you'd mentioned, for the first time in our polls, it is political stability that is the biggest success of the NDA.
Okay, so you're saying
down that list, it is 15%. And mind you, Rajdeep, this is a phenomenon. We have asked this question over various MOTNs in the past few years. For the first time, we are seeing political stability as the #1 achievement of it, pushing down both the Article 370
it has pushed down the Ram Temple
and
to
the
number
Ram
two.
Temple.
So we will correct that graphic. 15% you're saying political stability is the #1 issue. Now look at the weaknesses of this government. When you look at the weaknesses, #1, and this has steadily remained a weakness of this government when this poll has been done, is unemployment. 27% is the biggest failure. So you've got political stability as the success, price rise. The NDA, of course, claims that one of its successes is that it's ensured inflation, at least in the headline numbers, has remained low. Economic growth, 7%. So all the failures are linked to economic issues. The successes are linked to political stability and the core Hindutva issue, which Ram Temple in a way exemplifies.
Just one
does this reflect, just a minute, does this reflect in a way Mr. Modi's strength? Mr. Modi is providing stable leadership, he has trust factor, and he brings Hindutva on the table. And when you put it all together, it becomes a pretty impressive statistic. So even if I'm concerned about unemployment, I concern price rise, every poll will show you're concerned about price rise. I've never seen a poll where people are not concerned about prices. It suggests that Mr. Modi, the individual, embodies stability and embodies Hindutva nationalism, and that remains the NDA's biggest strength.
Agreed, Rajdeep, on the positive side of it. And in fact, our cover headline is delivering stability. And that's the reason why the numbers that you see in terms of the BJP and NDA has gone up in an age of great turmoil that we see in an era of turmoil, global, regional, and even domestic. He stands as someone with a great deal of resilience, economic and political. And if you flip it to the other side, which is the failures, as you said, it's routine for our polls to show unemployment and inflation being on top of the list, and of course economic issues. But here there is a very interesting variation. For the first time we are seeing, after many, many MOTNs, that there is actually a dip in the percentage of people who are saying, one, that unemployment is their biggest problem, is down by 2%. And really significant is the fact that unemployment figures that is being reflected is a 10% drop as compared to previously. It has actually, the number of people saying that unemployment is a serious problem has dropped by 10%. So therefore, we need to analyze what is that issue. Now here, when you look at another question that we have posed, which are the most important issues, again, unemployment and inflation figure. So something, we have to try and decipher what the issue is. I was speaking to Yashwant earlier about this matter because there is a paradoxical situation that has emerged in this. And one of the reasons, if you look at the fact that they talk of unemployment being serious, and yet when it comes to the rating of the failures, this begins to be of lesser intensity, is that that the government's doles towards women, for instance, across the country, means that 50% of the workforce seem satisfied. Two, I would say that the government's giving, say, income tax free for 12 lakhs and below had brought something like 30 million or a large number of people not in that bracket, not paying tax anymore, which put more money in their hands. So even if much of it is aspirational, if you have a low-paying job, you want a better job, maybe people are saying, okay, I've got this job, so therefore the rush into the market is not as much. It's a very difficult thing to explain.
So in a way, Mr. Modi, to summarize, has managed to a large extent contain a sense of economic distress through targeted schemes that benefit various sections of society. Therefore, even with troubled global headwinds, with difficult economic conditions, he's not allowed the distress to become overwhelming, which is an important plus in a way.
And just let's add to
that the political stability that he's seen to provide.
And also that inflation is at its lowest. Let's not forget, high prices have always been an issue. As we mentioned earlier, this is a Goldilocks period where you have low inflation between 2 to 4%, which is within the acceptable limits that the RBI wants, and therefore it's been dropping the repo rate, and high growth. So one of the big factors, prices, people feel that they are getting value for their money, and therefore you see the resistance. But let's be very clear, economic issues, as we'll see later on the polls as well, if those numbers come in, remain the dominant issue of this electorate.
There are multiple
and he has to deal with
things at work.
if you look at it from 2024, and if you look at the tracker of unemployment tracked, I think, in the MOTN poll in 2024, the poll that you did right after the general elections was at the highest.
Quite high.
Berozgari was a narrative that the opposition went with. It stuck in places like Uttar Pradesh, and since then we've seen a steady drop. And on the, at least where MOTN polls are concerned, on unemployment. But what's bolstered it also, where we talk about stability, political stability, since then, Yashwant, election after election, you've had the BJP winning these elections, conveying a sense of stability, and then the inflation is low. It all makes the perfect storm which works in favor of Prime Minister Modi.
Every election that BJP has won since then, there is a common line, that is the cash dole to the female voters. All right. So this is what actually me and Raj were discussing, that this is looking at paradoxical, and that's why I went into a kind of a data digging and, why exactly is this happening? And I could realize that a significant chunk of female voters who were saying that unemployment is the main issue, that has come down, and that has brought down because of the cash doles, definitely. But Rajdeep, there is something which is like, we ask this question day in and day out. What is the biggest issue our country is facing at this point of time? And we always ask the second question, who according to you is likely to give a solution to this? I mean, who do you trust more to give it? And this is where, bottom line, I've realized that the trustworthiness of brand Modi outscores everything else. When you ask those who are saying unemployment is the biggest issue, there is a 1:2 ratio between Rahul Gandhi and Narendra Modi, saying Narendra Modi can give a solution to this. When you talk about inflation as the biggest issue, there is almost a 1:2 ratio. So the same ratio is in the vote share of the Congress and the BJP. The same ratio is in the popularity rating of Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi. And one critical important piece of information, if you look into this, you will realize, Rajdeep, that Narendra Modi's numbers are way more than NDA's number, while Rahul Gandhi's numbers are way less than the India numbers. I think there is something which is still missing in that big piece of jigsaw puzzle.
Okay.
Rahul Gandhi is there, but somehow is still, he has managed successfully one thing, Rajdeep, that's sowing the doubt among his die-hard supporters that I am not losing, I am losing because the game is fixed and election commission is fixed. That part, his own supporters have bought it wonderfully, no doubt about that. But is he able to swing the middle of the ground voters towards the Congress and towards Rahul Gandhi? That is not happening.
And just
there is one headline number that I always throw. In 2009 Lok Sabha elections, the Congress won roughly 11.2 or 11.3 crore voters. The BJP was at about 7.4 crore voters. Fast forward to 2024, the BJP's voters have gone up to 22 crores, the Congress is up to 13. What does it show? The Congress's voters have remained more or less the same. The BJP has added new voters. And it is when they've added new voters that you're able to successfully win election after election. And therefore, there is no magic formula. There is a lot what Sanjay Jha says that needs to be looked at very carefully. I think next time that question should be asked, is there a level playing field in Indian politics? Or do you believe one side has a huge advantage over the other? Direct question. I think if there is any suggestion, I think Yashwant needs to put some harder, more direct. Do you really trust the election commission? Not generic questions. So if that comes out, I think some of the nuances will come out. But it's clear at the moment, Preeti, that brand Modi is far more trusted than his competition. And once that happens, the fact is you have an extremely durable leader. I don't know where else in the world at the moment, 12 years into power, you're still seeing these pretty impressive numbers. And that, in a way, the economics call it what, Goldilocks moment. But politically also, the stability factor gives Mr. Modi a huge edge over the competition.
Well, you're right there, Rajdeep, and especially if you look at it now, if you look at the tracker, now I think, Raj, one can safely say that 2024 general election was a blip.
No,
do you think we can say?
I think there are a vastly different set of circumstances. I'd just like to add to one more point that Yashwant was making. One of the reasons why Mr. Modi comes across as the champion of political stability is because the opposition has lost so many elections, is so fragmented that no one wants to trust in these very, very troubled times a leader that is unable to navigate his own party and try and run the nation. I think Mr. Modi demonstrates, as the BJP does, that it is not only does he have a very solid party, he's very clear in terms of the vision that he has for the country. And let's take a look at the reforms that he has brought about. He talks of the reform.
We will talk of the reforms in the next segment, Raj.
I just want to add that
reform. No. We've run out of time. The Reform Express is in the next segment. The state of the economy is what we will discuss next. When we return, that's precisely the question. The Prime Minister says we are on a Reform Express. Do the people agree? The mood of the nation on the economy comes up next. You're watching our biannual mood check. Mood of the nation, India Today, See Voter Poll.
Association with
Century Premium Plus.
आपको शायद पता नहीं होगा, अपार ने आईएनएस विक्रांत के लिए 150 से ज्यादा तरह के केबल्स बनाए हैं। देश के टॉर्पीडोस में भी हैं अपार के केबल्स। वंदे भारत भी अपार के केबल से ही स्पीड पकड़ती है और यही वायर्स और केबल्स हमारे घरों को भी पावर करते हैं। विश्वास इसमें अपार, तभी तो ये है देश का तार।
Introducing Motorola's signature.
अरे टेंशन किस बात की? सेंचुरी प्रोबूट का प्रीमियम प्लस है ना, लो एमिशन है, हाई डेंसिटी है, वाटर रेजिस्टेंट भी, टर्माइट एंड बोरो रेजिस्टेंट भी है। यानी ये है जहां नो टेंशन वहां।
Premium Plus by Century ProWood. Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out.
set to host a major diplomatic gathering as more than 10 Arab foreign ministers converge in New Delhi for the second India-Arab foreign ministers meeting on 30th and 31st January. The meeting, only the second of its kind since the inaugural edition in 2016, signals a renewed push to deepen India's engagement with the Arab world at a time of intense regional and global churn. Foreign ministers from Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Oman, Sudan, Palestine, Somalia, Mauritania, Comoros, and Libya have confirmed their participation. Saudi Arabia will be represented by its vice foreign minister, while responses are still awaited from Lebanon, Syria, and Morocco. Syria's participation remains uncertain due to ongoing domestic pressures. In total, representatives from around 22 Arab League countries are expected to attend. Arab League Secretary General Ahmed Aboul Gheit, a former Egyptian foreign minister and long-serving diplomat, will also be present, underlining the political weight of the meeting. One of the most notable developments is the attendance of Libya's foreign minister, representing the internationally recognized Government of National Unity. Geo-economic cooperation will feature prominently, especially initiatives such as the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor. Preparations for the meeting have already gained momentum, with senior Indian officials engaging Arab ambassadors in New Delhi to align priorities and expectations. Adding an economic dimension to the diplomatic push, India and Arab countries will formally launch the India and Arab Countries Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, or IACCIA, ahead of the main ministerial engagement. The chamber traces its origins to the 2016 Muscat Declaration and was further endorsed in the 2023 Delhi Declaration. Backed by the League of Arab States and key Arab trade bodies, the new chamber aims to institutionalize economic cooperation, boost trade flows, and strengthen collaboration in agriculture and industry. Taken together, the meeting highlights India's growing diplomatic and economic footprint in the Arab world, and its ambition to position itself as a key partner in a region undergoing rapid transformation. With Farhan Khan, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
Hi, I'm Sana. Here's your weather update. Delhi maximum 21 and minimum 11 degrees. Mumbai maximum 26 and minimum 21 degrees. Kolkata maximum 30 and minimum 16 degrees. Bengaluru maximum 28 and minimum 16 degrees. Chennai maximum 26 and minimum 22 degrees. Hyderabad maximum 30 and minimum 16 degrees.
Introducing Motorola Signature.
Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out.
Introducing Motorola Signature.
Introducing Motorola Signature. Don't blend in, stand out.
Hello and welcome once again. It's that time of the year, time for the India Today See Voter biannual Mood of the Nation poll. A poll that has a sample size of more than 90,000 across this country, which looks at what is the mood of the nation if elections were held today and also the hot button issues of the day. My colleague Maria Shakir and I will take you through the next hour looking at hot button issues related to the economy. Remember, the economic survey has come out today. The budget comes out on Sunday. So that's a pressing issue of the moment. And also foreign policy in the age of Donald Trump. So plenty to look forward to on the India Today See Voter Mood of the Nation poll. All the details in the latest India Today magazine. But first, it's time for the headlines. India Today See Voter Mood of the Nation poll suggests that trust remains with Prime Minister Modi. The poll survey reveals the NDA would win 352 seats. The BJP alone would this time cross the halfway mark with 293 seats. If Lok Sabha elections were held today, the Congress and India Bloc are losing ground.
Big mood check in 4 poll-bound states. Consistency persists in Bengal and Tamil Nadu. Big thumbs up for UDF in Kerala based on Mood of the Nation survey.
Indian voters do have trust in the SIR process, Mood of the Nation survey reveals, but there are questions now, particularly over vote chori, and a large chunk of the voters believe Rahul Gandhi's vote chori charge must be looked at carefully.
Ahead of Budget 2026, on Sunday, we tell you India's rating of Modi-nomics on the GST, reform, unemployment crisis, and more. India's mood barometer coming up now.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman tables the economic survey in Parliament. Survey records a robust growth at 7.4% for FY26, driven by domestic demand amidst global uncertainty, but points out that there could be risks in the year ahead. The Prime Minister says the survey shows a picture of India's reform express.
News coming in now from the Supreme Court. Huge setback for centre over the plea against the new UGC reforms. In top court, the Supreme Court stays implementation of new UGC norms, says 2012 regulations will continue. Also says that these reforms prima facie are vague and prone to misuse.
Two Kashmiri shawl sellers are beaten up by a group of people in Uttarakhand's Vikas Nagar. Victims claim they were assaulted due to their identity. One accused taken into custody. J&K Chief Minister Omar Abdullah slams the targeted attacks against Kashmiris.
NCP leader Ajit Pawar is laid to rest with full state honours in his bastion of Baramati. Chants of Ajit Dada Amar Rahe echo.
Okay, we're going to start now with the Mood of the Nation poll looking at the state of the economy. How do people perceive the Modi government's handling of the economy at a critical time just ahead of the budget? We're joined by Raj Chengappa, Editorial Director, India Today magazines, as well as Yashwant Deshmukh of C Voter, which has done this poll. And these poll findings are important, as I said, in the context of what is going to happen in a few days from now. Siddharth Zarabi, Managing Editor, Business Today TV, is also with us. Salman Soz, National Spokesperson, Congress, and Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, National Spokesperson, BJP. But those big numbers, Maria, will give us a sense of how people are responding to what has been a very difficult time domestically and globally when it comes to dealing with economic issues.
Yes, that's right. And as we have been saying that today was the day of the economic survey, which was tabled by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in Parliament. We have spoken to the Chief Economic Advisor of the Government of India, Anant Nageshwaran. He has given us a sense of why he thinks that India's growth outlook is positive, but has to be cautiously optimistic at the same time. Let's look at the first big numbers. Government's handling of the economy. NDA government's handling of the economy, 49% say it's good. As far as 29% are concerned, they say it's poor. So roughly, there is a high satisfactory rate as far as Prime Minister Modi's decision with regards to economic stability is concerned. We have seen the mother of all deals being inked just 2 days ago with the European Union. Who managed Indian economy better? Narendra Modi stands at 54%. Just look at the next set of data, which is now on your television screens. And as far as Dr. Manmohan Singh, former Prime Minister, is concerned, that stands at 36%. But if you look at the transition from August 2025 to now, there is an increase of almost 9% for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So in terms of global turbulence, there seems to be a huge thumbs up for Prime Minister Modi that he perhaps read the White House correctly and started looking at new opportunities, new paths vis-a-vis UK and even European Union deal. Remember, it has been in the making for good 18 years, Rajdeep.
That's right. And if you look at this in a sense is one of the reasons why Prime Minister Modi's numbers are holding, because it is, as was famously said, the economy is stupid. It's when you get the economy wrong that your numbers start falling. If the only time I've seen Mr. Modi's numbers fall in our mood of the nation over the last decade, for example, is during COVID. There was a period, particularly in COVID too, where there were concerns. So it is real livelihood issues that affect people. That was a concern over the economy at the time. But even in these difficult times, there is a general feeling that the government has done a reasonable job. It's not excellent, but it certainly is well above average. Raj Chengappa, would I be right in saying that in a sense is one of the big takeaways that we are getting from this mood of the nation? Economic status has improved. 35% are saying improved, same are saying 30%, deteriorated 32%, more divided there. But overall handling of the economy, there's a general positive feeling.
Yes, and it goes with the sense there's political stability, and he's brought economic stability as well, and growth. Let's not forget, India in the last GDP figures showed that we are the fastest growing economy across the world. And what he's done is, and that's why you see the numbers, in this year he's addressed all the big issues. If demand and consumption was an issue, he lowered the bar for paying income tax. He made it 12 lakhs and below was free. We saw the rationalization of the GST come in, where definitely if we see in the months ahead, that will start benefiting with lower prices and therefore put more money in people's hands to consume and therefore create demand. Then he bit the bullet on the labor courts, one of the most difficult legislations. Many could have argued whether this is perfect or not, but the fact is it's out there to be debated and implemented. And as Maria had earlier said, the fact that he diversified India's trade interests, signing the mother of all deals, earlier negotiating with the other countries, the ninth deal he's signed in the last 5 years, showing that he's open to expansion. And this reform express that he talks about has been fully evident ever since the last year that we've seen, where after the win of Maharashtra and Haryana that the BJP and its allies did, and Bihar, that has given him the impetus. And I think what these results are showing, both in terms of numbers, politically, that the BJP will now get a full majority if elections are being held and the NDA's numbers are very high. And if you look at the ratings that this particular poll shows, that all this shows that the mandate is go ahead and do the reforms. We are with you. And that's a big thing as Budget 2026.
Can I just get a quick, before I go to the other guests, Yashwant, just a comparison between numbers of handling the economy in August of 2025 compared to now. Would I be right in saying that today Mr. Modi's numbers are actually marginally better than they were 5 months ago, which also reflect in the seats that the BJP is projected to get? The NDA government's marginally, as you can see, has gone up from 48 to 49 between August and now. So it was at a high about a year ago, but 2 years ago. But overall, it is pretty rock solid. Would I be right to say that?
You're right. And also it is one of those things when you compare Dr. Manmohan Singh and Modi's and like that, this is the only zigzag movement you can see sometimes, and that's largely because as we have observed, whenever there is a kind of economic distress, inflation going up, those numbers start coming down. Whenever that stress eases, those numbers start going up. Yes, at the bottom line is that it's the economy which works largely in favor, which is sometimes supported by election.
But broadly, the numbers are rock solid. If you look at between 54 to 49%, when you're good, even in tough times, then that's a thumbs up. Siddharth Zarabi, you want to give your first reaction because you're the one who tackles the economy every day?
Rajdeep, very clearly, if you look at that chart closely, not once in the data set that we are being shown does Modi ever dip below the economist who became prime minister. So take that as the first point. And what does this therefore tell us? That there might be dips episodic, but overall, it clearly seems that people believe that Prime Minister Modi's handling of the economy is net positive, but not rock solid very clearly. It dips, it varies as things swing. But nowhere in this data set do we see it going below the Manmohan line, Rajdeep.
Yes, and a quick observation also on this, Rajdeep. From August 2025 to January 2026, we are looking at 9% increase for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. That's also because after August 2025 came the next generation GST reforms. Also, the labor codes came into force. So, and now we are looking at the economic survey. Of course, this survey was done much before the economic survey came into force. The sense here is that the next generation GST reforms and also the labor code has given that positive bump for Prime Minister Modi because he also announced it as the year of reforms. Series of decisions which were taken, from direct to indirect taxes.
Sure, but you see, at the end of the day, it's about perception. The perception is that in difficult times, I think, you know, in difficult times, if you do not allow the economy to spiral into a bottomless pit, people reward you for the effort. And are you willing to give Salman Soz, you're an opposition leader, given what we've seen with the economic survey, where the chief economic advisor who Maria has interviewed, we'll have that interview at 10 p.m., also admits that there are global headwinds, there are risks, but the macroeconomic headline numbers are relatively solid. And the general feeling is that the Indian economy, unlike other economies across the world, is holding on, is resilient. And therefore, the Prime Minister is being given, or the government is being given credit for keeping the economy on the right track. You want to call it Reform Express, you want to call it Reform Mail, that's up to you.
Well, Rajdeep, what I want to say is that if you look at the data here, in August 2024, I look at the screen and it says that 52% is the approval rating for the Prime Minister. This is just after an election where he lost his majority for the first time in 3 tries. So, and now if he's at 49%, I congratulate him because, you know, if you look at the pre-2024, July 2024, pre-election Mood of the Nation survey, I'm sure the survey gave the NDA 350 seats or something like that. So if that is the benchmark, great. But let me tell you what the reality is, what people are feeling as we speak. This country's consumption, this economy's consumption is extremely weak. And by the way, the 7.4% GDP growth number that the finance minister will report at the budget presentation will come with certain caveats. Your tax collections have been basically contracted this year, okay? Your tax collections are contracting compared to what they were expecting. They were expecting 11% growth, and we right now till November, we've had contraction. What does that tell you? That tells you there's some serious problems in the economy. And I think that your survey may not capture that, but that's a data point, that's a real data point. Scooter sales. Your scooter sales are very important because that's an entry point to middle class status. Your scooter sales right now are barely catching up with 2018-19 levels. Okay? That is the real data point. Nobody can argue with that. Your private sector investments are down. Your overall investments are not touching 30% since 2014. That's real data.
Okay.
By the way, the Bombay stock.
Let Zafar Islam now respond to that. You have thrown a lot of data here.
Let me just finish the data point that viewers might be interested in. The stock market. Everybody loves the stock market. The Bombay Stock Exchange, the BSE index. Since 2024, when it reached a peak, it's gone down by 5%. But the small caps, the small companies, their share has gone down by 20%. So their value has gone down by 20%. This economy does not work for small businesses and medium enterprises. This economy is based on a philosophy of trying to get some national champions working, and that is the wrong way to go. And no matter where you see, manufacturing as a share of the economy is at 12.5%, the lowest since the early 1960s. So please spare me these lectures on how amazing Mr. Modi is and Nirmala Sitharaman, etc. The real economy is in deep trouble.
We've heard you uninterrupted, Salman. We've heard you throw those data points. You want to respond to those data points? We can give the numbers in the mood of the nation. For example, on consumption, very interestingly, 49% after the GST new rules came in, say things remain the same, Zafar Islam. But you want to respond to the points that are being made by Salman Soz, effectively suggesting this government does not work for the small and micro industries, it works for the bigger players.
See, every opposition leaders have to criticize the government, and that is what Salman Soz is doing. But away from that, let me tell you very candidly that Indian economy, it doesn't work in isolation. No, let me just, Radhip, allow me to respond. I'm saying Please. Indian economy doesn't work in isolation. It is a part of a global integrated economy. There is a headwind, every economy will be impacted. But Indian economy relatively in much stable position compared to many other economies. And that itself is a big relief for everyone in India. Away from opposition parties, which they have to criticize. But let me tell you very important things. That inflation is low, macro stability is there, growth is picking up. Even the today's survey is suggesting that there is a growth momentum and economic activity is there. Lot of economic stimulus has been given last year in 2025. The problem with many countries is facing that their economy is in crisis. And they have to rescue. We are not in that position. We don't have to rescue our economy. We are not in crisis. We are in a very different situation. We have how to steer our economy so that we have more productive GDP growth, and that is what the economic survey is also indicating. But as I said, that we work in a global economy which is integrated. There are headwinds which every country is facing. We are not facing because we have market, we have consumption. All the stimulus which has been given has not fully played out as yet. I'm telling you that all the heavy lifting which has been done last year has not fully played out as yet, and they will see that lot of more momentum going forward, and that is what economic survey is suggesting, that there will be growth momentum of GDP growth of 7.4%.
The economic survey, actually, to be fair, the economic survey is presenting, Dr. Islam, the economic survey is presenting a more complex picture. Yes. Siddharth Zarabi, am I right? That the truth lies somewhere between what Salman Soz says, where everything is not working, and Syed Zafar Islam, who seems to suggest we are on a reform express. Just a minute. Let Siddharth Zarabi give us his view. Is the truth somewhere in between, as the survey seems to suggest? For example, on the rupee, that the rupee, the survey admits, has punched below its weight. It gives reasons for it. But the truth of the matter is these are difficult times, and the survey, if you read between the lines, is preparing you for difficult times.
Rajdeep, I'll stick to the data on the screen rather than my own personal views. And if we take that since Modi took charge chart, and if we look at it the way I am reading the data, what is it? In simple words, it is telling us that there is no one shared economic experience across the country. It's basically a three-way split. Improved is 35%, the same is 30%, and deteriorated is 32%. So basically, the people's experience is varied. Now, if you take a look quickly at the GST, less than 1/4 are saying that they are buying more. 49% say no change. 21% say they are buying less. Now, it is a debate whether we should combine 49 and 21 and then look at it, or independently that less than 1/4 are buying. Oh. Net, therefore, in response to what you are saying, the economic survey, the longest survey so far that I have seen in my career, talks about a whole lot of things, but it is very clear. If I go by the previous economic survey and what translated into government decisions as a consequence, what you are now looking forward to, and I hope certainly that becomes reality on Sunday, is a massive wave of deregulation, because this data also tells us that the government has limits on spending and the ability to create employment, and therefore deregulation will be the only way forward, Rajdeep.
Okay, so let's look at the next set of data, and this is on employment situation, and has the government created more jobs? Look at the picture here now. The question was asked, opinion on unemployment situation, 42% saying very serious, somewhat serious around 22%, not very serious is 7%. Not concerned is 14%, but let's look at another set of data. This is about, has government created more jobs? Yes is 53%. No is 41%. So not much of a difference here. But is it the sense that because of the EPFO data, this is looking at somewhat rosy picture of 53%? Right?
And correct me if I'm wrong, these numbers are better than they were in August. In August, there was a sense of greater economic distress than January. Am I correct? Yes. Yashwant, that those who felt that unemployment was a serious, somewhat serious or serious was more than 70%. It's now 60%. So there is some sense that the government is trying to provide me relief. Am I correct?
Unemployment hurts more when the inflation is high. Unemployment hurts more when you have lesser money in your pocket. So yeah, from all those perspectives, yes, you are right in your assessment, Rajdeep, that this is going a kind of a jigsaw a little bit, but yes, largely speaking, what Siddharth is making sense as well, that, you know, in overall performance, when you look at the long-term trend line, people are somehow still trusting trusting this government more, that, okay, these are our problems, but I guess that you are going to at least try and find a solution.
You know, Salman shows that's the thing. People are admitting there are problems. And as Siddharth has very rightly pointed out, we are a split society. There are people hurting at the bottom of the pyramid and some even in the middle of the pyramid. But they are still they are still giving a vote of confidence to the government, Salman shows, in the hope that they will resolve the problems. You see, you have to look at it from a political perspective. Yes, Siddharth, very quickly.
Very quickly. Basically, the data set tells me this is a dual mood approach. Approval and anxiety both are coexisting in our country.
Very well said.
Yes, Salman shows you want to respond, because it's one thing to have these anxieties, but at the same time, you are willing to trust the government of the day to help you more than the opposition. You have to come up with a proper economic agenda of your own. Where is your economic manifesto?
I will tell you, Rajdeep, because I know you're a political animal, you'll appreciate this. In the early 2000s, when Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee was going for his India Shining campaign, BJP was very fond of talking about how 60 million jobs were created during those 5-6 years. What the reality was that those jobs were not what people were doing. Women, elderly, children, they were working in the farms. It was distress employment. And if you look at the current situation, if you look at the periodic labor force surveys right now, you see a lot of similar employment. Do you know that India is one of only 2 G20 countries where agricultural employment has gone up after the pandemic? Only 2, South Africa and India. When agricultural employment goes up, that means that's distress. Now, let me make a prediction for you, for all of you, for all those watching this TV show. Because of what happened with Manrega, because of the repeal of Manrega, there will be a severe impact on the demand in this country. That's one, and your companies are going to suffer. This is first prediction. Second, because a lot of the spending has been shifted to the states, there's going to be a lot of problems with state budgets because they're already stretched. So now you'll have a double whammy. Now, take it from me, this is going to cause huge problems in the economy going forward. So all of these, by the way, this whole idea...
Mr. Soos, Mike, sir, despite that, you see that disjunction between economics and politics is very clear. It's not as if people are not feeling distress, but they still seem to trust the government to pull them out of this distress. Yes, Zafar Islam.
First of all, let me remind Mr. Soos that he is a Congress spokesperson and he must remember the UPA regime, where the policy paralysis is there, the 5 fragile economy in the world, and the scams all over during UPA government. bank was in distress situation,
have you
NPA was
convicted
very
anyone
high,
of any
capital
crime?
adequacy ratio was, you know what it was. No, just please do not interrupt. I do not interrupt. Have some decency.
Rajdeep,
And somebody
criticized,
somebody.
Go ahead, sorry, Zafar.
So somebody who has given this kind of economy during UPA time is talking about that UPA government has delivered a better economy compared to the current situation, despite COVID, despite global headwind, despite many wars, despite tariff situation, despite everything, so many headwinds, still India is selling comfortably compared to many other countries. And that itself is a huge relief, and that lends a lot of comfort to the common man on the street. Every economist, whether it's locally or globally, they admire the way it is being handled, economy is being handled.
Yes.
See, one thing is when being a spokesperson of a party which has not even has 100 MPs, they used to have 400 MPs. They will criticize, and we can understand that even the audience will understand.
Dr. Zafar Islam.
Dr. Zafar Islam, please listen to the question Maria has.
You will realize
You're a banker yourself. The question about employment. There are concerns, but has government created more jobs? That data has gone up from what it was in August last year. What do you think has worked?
Maria, two things before I respond to your question. That the rating upgrade by the rating agencies, that itself suggests that Indian economy is in sound state and on the right track. Because otherwise, during UPA time or for last several years, no rating agencies have upgraded our rating. That suggests so many positive development happened in last 11 years. From our position from 11th largest economy to now 4th largest economy. That even the EU FTA that we have signed also suggests that they have more confidence in us. Because in 2013 they had abandoned this discussion with the UPA government than they ever had during UPA term. So Indian economy, if somebody criticizes, they must see the numbers, they must see the high frequency data and must see the macro stability what we have demonstrated in the last 11 years. Purely because the decision which has been taken by the Honorable Prime Minister, the various structural reform which has been undertaken is showing the result. And even I'm telling today that during last 11 months, what the economic stimulus has been given yet to play out in the economy, and that will show a lot of resilience and that will show a lot of productivity, GDP growth.
Can I come in, Rajdeep?
Having said that, yes, job has been created.
Mr. Soos, we will have lots of time on budget.
When you have done survey,
I've heard you. No, Zafar Islam, I have to take a hard break. We have to move on to our next segment, which is foreign policy. We've heard the economy, we've heard two sides. Clearly, the government at the moment, in tough times, is seen to have done a decent job. And that in itself, when you do a decent job, people tend to reward you politically. And that's the benefit. And the opposition has an opportunity there to provide an alternative. That clear alternative needs to emerge from the opposition in terms of an economic agenda. Maybe a shadow cabinet with Salman Soos as a potential future finance minister, who knows? But let's leave it at that, because when we return, Maria, Gaurav Sawant is going to join us. We're going to look at foreign policy. That has been a major challenge for the Modi government as well in the last 12 months. How does the mood of the nation track on that? After a break.
Introducing Motorola Signature.
sorry.
मित्रों,
Welcome back once again to the India Today Mood of the Nation poll done with C-Voter, our biannual mood check of what is the mood of the people. Now we're going to focus on foreign policy. It's been a major issue in the last 12 months, including in the last 5 months since the last track-up, particularly in this Trumpian world of disorder. Who better than Gaurav Sawant to join me? Because Gaurav, you were there at Howdy Trump, Namaste Trump. You've seen the various shifts that have taken place in the India-US relationship, and we are at the crossroads in a way.
That's putting it very mildly and very politely, Rajdeep. Very unlike you, I must say. The relationship is steadily going downhill. And can that collapse actually be arrested? That's the big question. And the question that we put to respondents, India-US relations under Donald Trump's second term. First term was very different. Remember, Rajdeep just spoke of Howdy Modi that I covered in Houston, Texas, and also Namaste Trump at the Motera Stadium or the Narendra Modi Stadium in Gujarat. Well, in second term, has it improved better than before? Only 21% say that. Same as before, 16% say that. Majority believe the relationship has actually worsened. That's 54%. The relationship has truly worsened, and especially with Trump tariffs. That's point 1. Point 2, again, the question that was put to people to respond, India-US relations under Trump's second term, 21% say it's better than before. Same as before, 16%, worsened 54%. Let's play the second slide. We're playing the second slide now on whether India should put counter tariffs on the United States, retaliate with reciprocal tariffs, and 45% say, Rajdeep, yes, India must respond in kind. Cut GST and similar measures, 34%. There are several steps that government has already taken. Of course, I must also add that this was done before the India-EU free trade agreement. Accept his demands, just 6%, Rajdeep, just 6% say yes. Everyone wants India to respond very strongly.
Okay, let's get in. Geeta Mohan, our Executive Editor of Foreign Affairs, joins us. Geeta, your first reaction, then we'll get Raj also to respond. But your first reactions to what you've seen. Are you surprised by the numbers at all? We're also putting out India's relations with neighbors under PM Modi. 51% say they have improved, deteriorated 5% remained the same 12%. I don't know who are these 51% who say they are improved, but go ahead. Let's look at Trump first. 54% say it's worsened with Donald Trump.
Well, I'd completely agree, because if this is a recent, if the survey is about recent times, like Gaurav was putting it, Rajdeep, then yes, relations have worsened and the numbers show it. But in terms of the second question, where the question is on retaliate with reciprocal tariffs, I don't know how India can retaliate with reciprocal tariffs and then manage the economy, because the things we export and the things we take from America are vastly different. So I don't think that can be a solution. So don't quite agree with the percentage going with retaliatory tariffs. Maybe more to do with diversification. I suppose they should have added that. Should India have diversified? And what EU FTA shows is diversification. So that one bit, I suppose there could have been more. But in terms of worsening of relations, absolutely. There's no two ways.
When this survey was done, did the India-EU free trade agreement, was that factored in, or this predates that?
No, that wasn't factored in. And another thing, on the wording of, because before the show, me and Geeta were discussing this thing, there are two different questions. This question of things were improved are overarching of the 11 years of Modi government. But another question which says that, you know, how do you see India's relations in the recent time with the neighbors? A big chunk saying that they have deteriorated. But that deterioration is not blamed at Modi. That deterioration is blamed at the people who are working in different neighborhood. You know, it's not, the blame is not landing on Modi. People feel like Modi has bent over backwards to do some good things with the neighbors. It's the neighbors' problem. They are not reciprocating the way that they should have reciprocated.
And Raj, those who believe that this relationship has actually improved, because, you know, Rajdeep was asking, who are these people who think that the relationship has actually improved? Well, countries like Maldives, Sri Lanka, countries, Afghanistan, India has come to their assistance, and they realize we're truly a friend in need, isn't it, Raj?
Well, you know, this is a very difficult for any leader to get along with Trump. If you ask most of the countries, they'll say the relations with the US has deteriorated as it is with India. In foreign policy, let's just like we saw in economics, there is a dual process that is happening. On one side, the government is praised for conducting its foreign policy in a robust manner. But as you drill it down, you can see the kind of critical issues or criticism that comes through on it. And we can get into it. There's a trilemma of issues that confront India's foreign policy today. One is Trump, the rampaging Trump and the tariffs that is imposed that we don't seem to be doing too well at the moment. And therefore, you're seeing that result. Things could change. We've dealt with the ups and downs of India-US relations post-nuclear, pre-nuclear. Second, let me just finish. Second is the China issue, which is blow hot, blow cold. And third, when we come to the real neighborhood as we see it, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, we have seen a complete deterioration in terms of Pakistan, a real low. Bangladesh is the other place, and Nepal, of course, is in turmoil. The way we have dealt with each of these, when you see the poll results, you will see that there is a mixed approach. The government gets praised for handling some of the tougher issues, but when it comes to, say, the narrative of Operation Sindoor and whether the government was able to counter what Trump...
And I asked my producers to make sure that the graphics match the discussion. Has the government countered Trump's repeated claims on Operation Sindoor? 39% say yes, no say 38%. Repeated claims on Operation Sindoor, 39% say yes, no say 38%. So it's a very divided audience. What is clear is that local tariffs. Remember, this is the average person being interviewed. These are not specialists on foreign policy. And therefore, what seems to be coming out, Gaurav, is that while there is disappointment in some sense over the worsening ties with US, there is, of course, the reality of worsening ties with some of our neighbors. You mentioned Sri Lanka, Maldives, but let's be honest, the neighbors making the front page headlines are not Sri Lanka, Maldives, they are Pakistan, Bangladesh, even Nepal to an extent. The question, Maldives, they are Pakistan, Bangladesh, even Nepal to an extent. The question arises, how should you then rate the government? India first, the title of your program, but it's created with America a lot of concern. The fact is that the American relationship has clearly not worked. Something has gone wrong in Trump 2.0. The average person may not admit it, but you know, most foreign policy specialists will admit.
But we misjudged 92%, almost 92%. If you add it up, they want India to stand up to the bully.
Yeah, no, it's very it's very well to say that I want to stand up to the bully. How easy is it to actually stand up to the bully is a question. I'm joined at this moment by guest Mohan Kumara Mangalam is of the Congress and
Pradeep
Bhandari of the BJP. Pradeep Bhandari, do you believe that India is standing up to the big bully, or do you believe that slowly but surely we are desperate to somewhere or the other get a deal cut with Donald Trump?
Well, Rajdeep, if you will look to the question of how is the handling of the government's foreign policy, because that is a question which you have not taken, or if that is in the survey, you should broadcast it also. I would believe that more than 50% of the people in the country will agree that the Prime Minister's government has taken the foreign policy as an extension of India's national interest, and the EU deal, which has been historic and has been the biggest ever deal done by any two trading blocs worth more than $20 trillion, is in significance and a reflection of India's growing might. And just not the India-EU deal, it has been more than 8 FTAs that India has done. And post that, if you study global commentary, every global commentator is agreed that India has negotiated with strength. So yes, in today's under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, our foreign policy looks at our economic interest and our national interest. I will not go into country specific.
Mohan Kumar Mangalam, would you agree with Pradeep Bhandari, the take that he has, or when the respondents say that 39% believe that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has responded to Trump adequately, but almost equally large number, 38%, don't seem to think so?
Particularly on Operation Sindoor.
Yeah, on Operation Sindoor, I think is what the question was asked for in the survey. And I think maybe if Trump keeps talking, and as he does, I think it's maybe 70, 80 times now that he said that he's the reason for the ceasefire. I think the more he says that, the more that number will change in favor of people feeling that Mr. Modi has not convinced them. Having said that, going beyond that, rather, I will say that I think the problem we have here is that Mr. Modi and the government went out of its way to woo Mr. Trump right from his previous regime. So the expectations were, when Mr. Trump did come to power a second time, that we would have some sort of special place in his heart, if you will, or we'd have special consideration. But he went about treating us much the same way, or you could argue even worse than many of the other countries. So there is an expectation mismatch here, of course, in the people who you have surveyed, because there was an expectation in India around the time that he came that because of this extra relationship that he shared with Mr. Modi, we would have some sort of special consideration. That clearly is not panned out. The EU FTA, which was in work for...
The respondents, and as Yashwant Deshmukh was also pointing out, instead of kowtowing to America like many countries, because Trump has hit friends, allies, enemies, he's hit them all. In fact, China is the only one who's been able to either counter him to an extent, or India that actually diversified, went for the India-EU free trade agreement with the United Kingdom, with other countries in the world.
Gaurav,
India's not buckling under American pressure, Rajdeep.
Gaurav, on that point, I mean, I think we should be very responsible when talking about foreign policy. So I don't want to use terms like bravado terms like we're not buckling under pressure. Listen, we need a deal with the United States.
It's visible to all, sir.
No, Gaurav, the reason why we managed to get a 20 years in working EU FTA to work out, because frankly, the European Union has finally realized they needed to work outside of the Trump universe. All of the EU has come together now to actually fight back the US's egregious behavior when it comes to Greenland and every other thing that they're doing with who they considered their natural partners. I mean, we're talking about probably the destruction of NATO over the next year, if it were to happen. So this is something that's working on both sides now. I think most of the world outside the US is realizing that we don't know what this man is going to do next. So let's find a way to increase trade amongst each other, put our differences aside, so that our economies don't suffer while he goes on his tariff rampage. That's the reality of it.
Right.
But when it comes to our neighbors, I'll make a point about our neighbors. I think we made a mistake when it comes to our neighbors when we decided to starve SAARC or SARC by neglect. We tried, I think, a couple of other multilateral institutions, but nothing with that much vigor. And so we gave China enough wiggle room to go ahead and start influencing all our neighbors. Today, even though we have given aid to Sri Lanka, as you mentioned, Gaurav, we have not been able to turn that into any sort of strategic advantage there. Every single country around us has huge influence by China, and we are battling China tooth and nail there. We have lost what we had as a first mover advantage with SARC, and we did that ourselves by neglecting that multilateral institution where we had a nice, friendly multilateral institution to talk to these neighbors of ours. Today you have anti-India rhetoric.
Mohan, you made your point.
Pakistan keeps hitting us on terror, and we should continue even to kowtow to Pakistan, like the manner in which post-2611 we did nothing.
Gaurav, I completely agree with you. I'm not saying that keep SARC, but if you want to build a multilateral institution with your neighbors without Pakistan, do that. Replace SARC. Don't eliminate SARC and not build anything else in its place.
Let me bring in Geeta.
With Afghanistan, for example.
See, the fact though, Gaurav, is that if you cannot make hyper-nationalism the basis of all your foreign... No, one minute. As the survey is saying, 54%, I'm only going by the numbers, 54% are admitting our relations with US have worsened. As Kumaramangalam said, there was this expectation that Trump had a personal, or Modi had a personal relationship with Trump, and it would work in India's advantage. That hasn't happened.
Japan is a treaty ally. He's ill-treating Japan. South Korea is an ally. He's ill-treating South Korea.
I'm only going by what the poll says. Similarly with neighbors. The fact is, with neighbors, you know that relationships have worsened with several of our key neighbors. Bangladesh is a classic example of it.
It's Bangladesh's fault.
No, 1 minute. Whose fault is it is another debate. At the moment, the fact is, you've got the foreign policy establishment saying one thing, Dr. Jaishankar going and condoling with Tariq Rahman, and the next day Mustafizur Rahman is banned from the IPL. You're getting mixed signals. I just want India's response to atrocities against Bangladesh minorities. 25% say adequate, 47% say need stronger measures. Absolutely. I would like to know what are those stronger measures. That maybe there is so much of jingoism, Geeta, in our political narrative. People are saying we want stronger measures. Do you see stronger measures possible against Bangladesh? No. If this is the mood of the nation, how do you respond? How should India respond?
Well,
does India have a plan to respond?
India can't respond stronger than it already does in terms of statements, because that's a sovereign country. We are having real trouble, Rajdeep, keeping Bangladesh on our side. And we've already lost Bangladesh with BNP and Jamaat there. But if we carry out stronger statements, if we put out stronger statements or carry out measures that are stronger than the statements that we're making, then we are going to rile a neighbor that's important, that could completely destabilize northeast of India. So India is being cautious. India is being careful. India has to be cautious and careful at this point in time. A stronger reaction is what maybe people would want. But if you see practically, if India does anything, if New Delhi does anything, it will not go down well in Dhaka.
Pradeep Bhandari, is social media and the people leading foreign policy, that because social media and the likes of Sangeet Som wanted action against Bangladeshi cricketers, Government of India one day decided Mustafizur Rahman ko hatao. Now, the same government is reaching out to Tariq Rahman, the BNP leader who's spewing anti-India rhetoric during the election campaign. So is Bangladesh an example of the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing?
Well, Rajdeep, I would appreciate if you, Gaurav, and the panel will give me 90 seconds, because I was interrupted in 35 seconds and the spokesperson got 3 times the time which I spoke, and I will address each of your questions one by one. Rajdeep, when the data on 51% which said that our neighbors, our relationship with neighbors have improved, you used the term that you do not know who these 51% are. But with the same parameter in the logic, you said you applied the same argument which says that you should have been better in dealing with the relationship with the United States of America. So you cannot be selective in picking the data. If you believe one answer of this question, you should also believe the other of it. So as for your survey, we have done very well on the part of neighborhood. On the part of Bangladesh in specific, it's an evolving situation. But largely, if you look at the neighborhood, you were speaking about Nepal. Our trade with Nepal contribution is 60%. With respect to Sri Lanka, we were the first country that the Sri Lankan new president visited. On the part of Pakistan, we do not agree with Congress party of having a soft corner to Pakistan. So this is why the Congress spokesperson was looking at a regional alliance which has Pakistan. We believe in giving a befitting reply to Pakistan, whether it is in Operation Sindoor or in the past in surgical strike. Look at it in largely, Rajdeep. If you would have a question on your survey which says that has Prime Minister Narendra Modi dealt the foreign policy better than the UPA, you will see a resounding 90% agreeing to it. because in a globally world which is volatile, which is turbulent, you have Prime Minister in the India representing a trusted, credible partner. This is why you have 8 FTAs. India is the only country which has managed to seal 8 FTAs with the largest bloc, keeping its economic sovereignty intact and keeping the red lines on its customers, for example, in dairy and others. So if you look at it in entirety, yes, Prime Minister's position India as a leading power. Yes, we do not succumb to international pressure when it comes to our national sovereignty. So it's about protecting your economic sovereignty and
I've given you 90 seconds uninterrupted.
Forward.
I've given you, Gaurav, what is your biggest takeaway on foreign policy? Do you believe that there is a need to be a little bit more cautious next time? You, as I said, went to Howdy Trump, Namaste Trump, that Trump 2.0 is a very different animal. Do you believe that is one lesson, that just be a little bit more cautious? Remember, when the Prime Minister was sworn in, he invited all the SAARC leaders to come in, and yet some of those SAARC leaders, particularly Pakistan, betrayed us.
And Pakistan betrayed us. So India started, Prime Minister Narendra Modi started with a clean slate, inviting all SAARC countries. Didn't the Prime Minister say, let's have a SAARC satellite, let's have a SAARC connectivity? Does Pakistan permit that connectivity? We have good relations with Afghanistan despite Pakistan. We wanted good relations with Bangladesh and did under Sheikh Hasina. It's Bangladesh that went and spoiled those relations, not India. Even now, India continues to help Bangladesh. You know, a little statement on competing with the free trade agreement, what will happen to our textiles, what will happen to Bangladesh's textiles. So India is taking measures, and effective measures that need to be taken. The neighborhood realized, even Maldives realized, with an India out policy, they did not do very well, so they came and had good relations with India. Okay. That's the point, you know, this foreign policy appears to be making, without compromising on India's national interest.
Okay. Raj, I
just one point very quickly to add. Rajdeep, you said that the public reaction is probably of jingoism. I doubt that. I mean, I feel like, you know, how could you see public reaction to what Jamaat is doing in Bangladesh as jingoism?
No, one minute. It's not Jamaat. The fact is, when you decide to remove a cricketer.
No, that I agree with you.
I mean, that was driven by a social media outrage.
No, but is it just social media? Is it just social media outrage?
Personally speaking, I'm totally with you. And I also said that at a stupid decision to remove a cricketer.
If I may, the government, whoever is making this decision is at least sending out the decision, killing of Hindus in Bangladesh is unacceptable. Why cannot, you know, the entire nations come together and say you cannot continue to kill Hindus in that country?
You know, but whether that has fulfilled our foreign policy objectives is another matter.
It's work in progress.
We don't know. We don't know. But Raj Chengappa, let's look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that we've had a survey which over the last few hours has shown Prime Minister Narendra Modi retains a high level of trust. His biggest advantage is he's providing political stability. The numbers of the BJP show that they are India's supreme election machine at the moment. The opposition is still seen as some level of disarray. There are questions over the economy. There are questions over foreign policy. So when you break down the big numbers, there are questions. Overall, though, as your cover says, there is this clear sense of an element, a strong element of stability that the Prime Minister provides, delivering stability. Do you believe that despite that positive note that it strikes, foreign policy economics needs to be looked at with far greater nuance and therefore a little bit more cautious rather than rushing in at times as we've done sometimes in the past?
Rajdeep, there are multiple messages that come out of this particular survey that's there. First, of course, as you mentioned, political stability, and therefore Narendra Modi gets the kind of numbers that he does, and that's a great pat on his back. But there are issues, and it's very creditable that in his 12th year he gets the kind of ratings he does. And the nation has reaffirmed, or there's a clear mandate for him to continue. They trust him implicitly to be the better leader. And therefore, the opposition should learn from that, that if they have to compete and really dislodge Narendra Modi or the BJP or the NDA, they will have to take a couple of leaves from his book and the BJP's book and work hard towards doing that. So there's a big message for the opposition. If you take a look at the ruling party itself, there's a message that while the people back you quite enormously in what you're doing, in terms of economic policy, there is a dual reaction that is happening. Yes, you've done your best, but we need a lot more things to be done. And you can see that very clearly, that he has to move from, say, a reform express to a bullet train speed to catch up if he wants to reach the Viksit Bharat on time.
Rahul,
Coming
Raj,
to foreign policy and
I have 20 seconds. Sorry, Raj, I have to end.
Just foreign policy.
We've
Then we have to reinvent.
Yes.
On foreign policy, very clear that we have to reinvent our foreign policy. We have done well on certain fronts. There's problems on the other front, but Trump has upended every single international order rule that you know it, and we have to go back to our drawing board and see where
Raj,
we can make
I've run out of time. Gaurav, you need 10 seconds. Yes.
Okay, 10 seconds. But look at the expanse of our engagement. India, EU done. Right now you have a diplomat in Iran engaging with Iran, and you have the foreign minister who's, the American ambassador has just met him. So India's engaged all over. US has just had an advisory, do not travel to Pakistan. So those who think American relations with Pakistan are improving, clearly not. They're just being used like they have been in the past.
I'm going to leave it there. Gaurav Sawant was possibly also part of those who was polled in Mood of the Nation. At least he's given his mood very clearly, as he does every night. At the end of the day, there's a wider nation out there, and there are people of far more diverse views, and that's why the Mood of the Nation is important. This is a great country of diversity. The more we respect that diversity and difference of opinion, the stronger nation we become. Thanks for watching. Do read the latest India Today magazine for much more. Thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Jai Hind, Namaskar.
Hi, I'm Sana. Here's your weather update. Delhi maximum 21 and minimum 11 degrees. Mumbai maximum 26 and minimum 21 degrees. Kolkata maximum 30 and minimum 16 degrees. Bengaluru maximum 28 and minimum 16 degrees. Chennai maximum 26 and minimum 22 degrees. Hyderabad maximum 30 and minimum 16 degrees.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Hello and welcome. The economic survey for 2025-2026 has been tabled in Parliament, and we have with us today Dr. V. Anantha Nageshwaran, the Chief Economic Advisor, who has done this very extensive, very robust report card of the Indian economy. I'm Siddharth Zarabi, And with me, my colleagues, Neha Batam from Aaj Tak and Maria Shakil from India Today. And we are going to get the Chief Economic Advisor to talk about the priorities that this survey has outlined and what we can expect in the months and days ahead. Dr. Nageshwaran, thank you very much for your time with us today.